he's done a real.
For tonight's ECAC matchup between the Golden Knights of Clarkson University and the homestanding engineers of Rensselaer. And now let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First, the visitors from Clarkson, starting in the goal, number 29, Jake Kylie. And the defenses, number 13, Aaron Thaw. Clarkson and left wing number 26, AJ Fossum. And center is number 19, Brent Gervais. And then the right wing for Clarkson, number 20, Nick Pirog. The rest of the Golden Knights, their head coach, Casey Jones. Now we ask that you please rise as the RPI Pep Band will play the national anthems of Canada and the United States of America.
WRPI from the World Wide Web. Once you browse to WRPI.org. You can pick up WRPI's broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 internet feed. Once again, it's WRPI.org. WRPI Sports seeking current RPI students to make live calls of athletic events such as this one you're about to hear between the RPI Engineers and the Clarkson Golden Knights. For all inquiries, contact us at WRPI-sports@rpi.edu.
These two teams, these players, I guess you could say, have faced each other quite a bit over the last few years due to some playoffs between them. So a lot of these juniors have 7 games against each other, especially on RPI's side, and of course matching on the Clarkson side. They have some familiarity with each other, including RPI's big series win up in Potsdam a couple years ago.
Absolutely, and RPI Clarkson games over the years, and we're talking a series that goes back practically to the beginning of both of these schools' programs. They tend to be hard-hitting and hard-nosed affairs, and a lot of that has had to do with the fact that traditionally Clarkson brings in Canadian players that are big, strong, they're willing to play the body, and that leads to some pretty physical contests between RPI and Clarkson over the years.
Underway from the Houston Fieldhouse, RPI and Clarkson. The Engineers in their home whites with red and black trim. Clarkson in primarily green with gold trims there. Green helmets, green pants, black and gold, green and gold socks as the Golden Knights move it out to center ice, tipped into the RPI zone, far side. Mike Prapavesis, the junior from Oakville, Ontario, over to pick it up for the Engineers. Fires it far side for Victor Liljegren. He'll back up a bit before shooting a pass near side behind Hayhurst, and back to his own zone to pick it up is Brett Gervais, junior from Corona, California. He'll shoot it ahead for Pirog. That's broken up right in front of the RPI bench. DeVito just off that bench. Tried to make a play on the puck. Now a hit is thrown by Liljegren, who goes off for a change. Puck in the RPI zone. Parker Reno takes a hit there. DeVito slaps it to the far side. First one to it, Jake Wood. It'll pop over his stick towards the point. Kept in there. Picked up by Jimmy DeVito. He'll shoot it off the wall. Back out to center. It'll be corralled there. Shot right back into the RPI zone. The alternate captain, Reno, has it. He fires it all the way down the ice. Will this be icing? Yes, it will. Amorosa, that being Terrence Amorosa, the first one do it. He's been a bit of an RPI killer in his young career, now a junior.
91.5 FM WRPI Troy. Tom Reel and Perry Lascaris on the call for you this evening. Tonight's contest is between RPI and Clarkson. It's a kind of a must-win for RPI already, as they are already on their 5th ECAC game at home this season.
Draw to the left of Chase Perry, sophomore goaltender from Andover, Minnesota, as the faceoff is won back towards the near wall and chipped out towards center past Nanny. Amorosa back to pick it up at his own blue line. Fires it far side, red line, dumped in by Clarkson. Jimmy DeVito, the first one back for it. He's roughed up there by Perry DeRiso. As a hit is thrown in the far corner. Pops free to the top of the circle. Clarkson's still on it, twisting with it at the point. Trying to give it back to Amorosa. Stealing away Wood. He'll try to break in. And it's Wood along the far wall. Does center the puck all the way through to the near corner, but nobody home. DeRiso behind, and now Amorosa connects to center. Jordan Boucher, 11 points on the year for the Golden Knights on 7 goals and 4 assists in just 10 games. A good start for him to his senior season. Behind the goal now, it's the Golden Knights' Kelly Summers, Ottawa Senators draft pick and a junior from Golden Lake, Ontario. He'll chip it up the far boards, past Carolina, and we get a whistle and an offside. 18:06 to go in the scoreless first period.
Saw Jake Wood kind of get a jump on the puck there, blocking a pass near the blue line. That's always a good thing to be doing if you're playing defense, because if you can jump on it, you can get an odd man rush going the other way. But Wood not able to outstretch his man that time and wasn't able to do much with it on the other end.
Draw here just outside the RPI zone. Engineers trying to do a better job on the face-off, in the face-off circle, and just like that, Clarkson wins once. Knocked out of the air by Perry into the near corner. Jumping on it first are the Golden Knights, Sheldon Rumpel. That shot trickles all the way through to the far side, where it's played by Nico Sturm. Behind the cage, they cycle to the far corner. Trying to work it back to the point was Rumpel. He gets bumped there by Grant. Tyrannies filters it on further, and now a chance for Manley to work it ahead off of Bourbonnais. It does leave the zone. Summers had made a play to try and pinch there, and it nearly paid off for the Golden Knights. Now it's Carrialainen behind his own goal. Evan Tierney throws a couple of body checks, but the Golden Knights stay on the puck in the far corner now. It's controlled by Sheldon Rumpel, former Nanaimo Clipper, former teammate of RPI freshman defenseman Will Riley, who's also in the lineup tonight. There's a shot off the outside of the post from the far side. Looked like it wasn't going to threaten Perry in his goal. He just kind of watched it hit the outside of the cage as he hugged the interior. of the net. Now a hit thrown by Polino in the near corner of the Clarkson zone, but it's the Golden Knights out to center. They'll work it there. It's going to be Egla to the far side, kept in by Yukiharo, and now a shot is played behind the goal by Bell. Prapavesis up the near wall, past Orval, will not have the legs for icing, so the Engineers will get a change. It actually comes in on goal. First touch of the puck there for Jake Kiley, the freshman goalie from Edina, Minnesota, for Clarkson. Glove down in the Golden Knights zone. Thought it would have been a hand pass, but no. We play on. Greg Morrow, freshman from Edmonton, Alberta, to the near side boards. He'll cross center and dump it in. Chase Perry stops it there, kicks it to himself, kind of lost it in his skates. A little bit of pressure, centering out in front. He kind of made a little bit of a mess of that one. Really didn't need to be. Engineers will backhand it all the way down. This will be icing on RPI. On Lunan, he was just trying to clear the puck out of danger. Just one shot on goal so far. It belongs to Clarkson in a scoreless first, 16-19 on the clock.
Saw that third line for Clarkson out there already. It's a line of entirely of freshmen, but they're 21-year-old freshmen, and they have some compatibility with each other, especially the wingers, Devin Broso and Sheldon Rempel. Both of them played 3 years together with the Nanaimo Clippers of the BCHL, and last season they both tore up that league. They were among the league leaders in scoring.
To the center of the ice for Nanny in his own zone. Tried to clear, broken up for a moment by Boucher. But it's corralled now by DeHaas, captain. We'll work it back to his own zone for Amorosa. Outlet pass, picked off by Reno. Chucks it off the glass back out to center. Amorosa again through center ice. On to DeRiso. Perry DeRiso, top of the circle. Pad save, kick to the far corner by Perry. Chopped back behind to the far corner by Jimmy DeVito, one of the co-captains for the Engineers. DeVito out of Bloomingdale, Illinois. There's a backhand pass off the base of the net. Nifty play there. Does not pay off for Sam Vigneault, however. Into the slot now. Boucher shooting and shooting. Shot was blocked by Wilson. Just got across in front of the play. And now behind the RPI goal. Engineers struggling a bit with this Clarkson top line, as it's going to be eventually moved out to center by Brady Whiffen, making his second appearance on the year. Carried back in far side. Nice move by Rempel to get free. Stops at the far wall. Chip towards the net. We get a whistle here. And we're going to get our first penalty of the game. I believe they're going to get Jared Wilson here. And with 15-17 to go in the first period, first power play of the game goes to Clarkson.
Well, Wilson took 2 penalties on Saturday night, including the one with 3 seconds remaining in regulation that led to the overtime power play goal winner for the Yale Bulldogs. So the RPI junior certainly no stranger to the penalty box so far this season. He is off for holding right now with 15-17 left in the first period. So we're about to see the Engineers go on the penalty kill for the first time this evening.
Power play for Clarkson as they work it to the side of the net. Comes free to the far wall. And now a tie up there. Prapavesis has his man pinned up against the boards. Back to the point now. Yuki Hario into the slot, comes all the way free to Amorosa. Drive, and he scores a power play goal for Terrence Amorosa. And it's 1-0 Clarkson just inside the right post.
Yeah, we've seen Amorosa do that here at the Fieldhouse and against RPI. You called him an RPI killer, and in the recent past, he certainly has been that. And he just showed off right there exactly why he's earned that title. He snuck that through on the near side. There wasn't a lot of room, but boy, is he ever good at picking his spots. That was not long off of the blade of his stick into the back of the net. He was at about the face-off dot on the near side when he ripped that off. But man, that had some smoke on it. 1-0 Clarkson.
For Amorosa, it's his first goal of the year, 6th of the season. Feels like they've all come against the Engineers. That certainly can't be the case, as it's picked up deep by the Golden Knights. Far side, they move it there. Aaron Tho takes a bit of time before he feeds it out to center. Backhanded deep by the Golden Knights. Mike Prapavesis around to pick it up near side, trying to clear the zone, kept in by Pirog. And now it'll be corralled in the near corner by A.J. Fawson, senior from Maple Grove, Minnesota. Back towards the near point. Bourbonnais trying to clear past Morrow. Can't do so. Second effort. He tries the far side and just gets it as far as center, where it's corralled by Tho, the sophomore from Toronto. Shot back in by the Golden Knights. Will Riley shrugged off the puck in the far corner. Goes back to pick it up. Riley near side for Prapavesis. Some space to look up ice. He finds Polino. Patrick Polino, far side into the zone. Has a teammate with him. It's Orval. Into the far corner he goes. He's bumped there by Summers. Back to the point where it's kept in by Wilson. Around to the near side corner. Patrick Polino to the near point. Manley tried a quick one-touch snapshot. That was blocked. Picked up by Bradley Bell now in the near corner for the Engineers. Bell back to the near point for Manley. He lets it run down low. Orval some space now. Centering pass right out in front. Bell had a whack at it. Didn't catch it cleanly. And shot never came on goal. And now Kelly Summers will carry to center. Turn right back around by Tommy Grant. Swatted center ice. Trying to catch the Golden Knights on a bad change as Orval walking in. He'll stop at the half wall. Looks to cycle. Can't get it down low. We get a whistle here. And what's it going to be? 13:27 to go in the first period. It's 1-0 Clarkson. And maybe too many men. There are 6 skaters out there right now for the Golden Knights. And I think that has to be the penalty. They were out there seemingly unknowingly. Yep, there it is. Bench minor on Clarkson. That wasn't one of those bad change, too many men calls. That was just 6 guys out there skating around.
Yeah, it's one of those ones you get these guys out there as the coach, you kind of wonder exactly how to call one of those guys back without calling too much attention to it. That was just some poor counting on the part of the Clarkson line changes right there. It's going to be Jordan Boucher, the senior out of St. Therese, Quebec, who is going to be serving the penalty for the Golden Knights. So RPI goes on to the power play for the first time this evening in a 1-0 hole.
Riley, far side for Prapavesis, into the slot for Liljegren. Picked up his first goal of the year, last time out against Yale. Here's a drive by Riley, that one's blocked by Piron. Played behind for Bourbonnais. Amorosa, he's tied up there with Hayhurst. Puck pops right out in front, trying to jam it home was Liljegren. Comes free, now out to center. Good clearance by Vigneault, got it just past the skate of Prapavesis. And now back to pick it up, Riley for the Engineers. Skating in far side, just across the line. Prapavesis will backhand it further. Jacob Hayhurst lets it run. Now a clearing effort down the middle, and the Golden Knights fire it down. Hefty hop off the end wall, comes all the way out to the top of the far circle where it's corralled by Prapavesis. He'll carry back behind the goal. Terrence Amoroso scoring at 5:04 on the power play for Clarkson. Gives the Golden Knights a 1-0 lead. We're halfway through RPI's first power play. Drew Melanson had a big weekend. 3 goals for the Engineers last time against Brown and Yale. He has the puck behind the net, pops off his stick at an inopportune time, and the Golden Knights clear once more. That time, Troy Josephs, the senior from Whitby, Ontario, and Pittsburgh Penguins draft choice doing the penalty kill job. As it's Melanson, will carry it back out again. The junior will ring it in near side. Kerms around behind. Kiley to play. Nearly gave that one away and eventually does to Melanson. Tierney's back up top. Wilson a drive. Pad save. Pops right back out. And onto the tape of Sturm, who shoots it all the way down. So fortuitous bounce there. The Engineers nearly had one. Jared Wilson got the look the Engineers were looking for from the blue line. But Kiley made the save. Wasn't pretty, but he got the job done. Whiffen taps it in deep one more time here on the power play. Another 15 seconds to go on it for the Engineers. 1-0 Clarkson lead. And that one skips by Grant at the far point. Didn't quite settle for him. Manley has it once more. Tipped into the zone by Wood. Played by Kiley in the far corner. It's going to be swatted at towards the point. Out of the box now. Golden Knights back to full strength as it's behind the Clarkson goal now. Orval, nice job to shield the puck, trying to center out in front, and it popped right to Boucher, who skates to center. Boucher will just dump in. Clarkson will get a change now. 11:10 to go in the first. Shots are 3-3, but Clarkson leads 1-0. Manley behind his own goal, spinning around, feeds it off the far boards. To center ice, right back into the zone. They wave off the offside. Now back Clarkson in their own zone. It's Tho down the middle. Good connection there. Walking right in, Vigneault. Pass behind the intended target, Derisa, who went right into the RPI goal, but stays on its moorings, and we keep playing. To center it goes. Blocked down there by the skate of Boucher. Right back into the zone comes Derisa. Wrist shot, stick save by Perry into the near corner. Battling for it there is Riley with Vigneault. And it's back into the near corner. DeVito takes a big hit up high from Boucher. Near side half wall, high in the air. This will come down at center ice. Polino trying to jump on the end of it and does. Polino in the near corner now spins around, loses an edge and goes down. Poke free by Carolina. And now picked up by Rempel. Very comfortable on the puck, it seems, is Sheldon Rempel. 3 goals and 3 assists for 6 points in 10 games. Solid start to his freshman campaign. Rempel far side for junior Teko Karjalainen. One of the 2 Finns in the lineup for Clarkson as they dump it in around to the far side. Played on further by Tierney's, knocked off his stick, but right onto the tape of Reno. His outlet pass too far from Melanson, back out to center it goes. Worked up the wall, Rempel can't corral it. Played by Reno, too far from Melanson, and Clarkson will take over at its blue line. It's Terrence Amoroso, the goal scorer. It's Amoroso from Sturm and Yoki Hario, the assists on the Clarkson goal. As we're over halfway through this first period, near point, stick handle. It's to Haas. He gave it away. Out to center. Touch past Melanson. He carries in with Bourbonnais. Back to Melanson near side. Melanson pulls it back. Takes a shot. Blocked. Rebound. Hit the skate of the defenseman in front of him. And he'll jump back on it again. Drops it back. Bourbonnais. Wrist shot coming. Nets off. I'm not sure who knocked it off. And they're pointing outside the zone. They're saying it was Tyrannese who did the deed.
Tyrannese was down low doing battle with senior Troy Josephs, trying to get himself the right spot to try and get that rebound. That's what RPI has been trying to focus on improving, is getting themselves in a position to either screen the goaltender or be in position to put back a rebound. Tyrannese certainly off to a strong start here in his sophomore season for RPI. 3 goals, 10 assists for 13 points, leads the Engineers in scoring.
Engineers haven't had a player, and I know it's early for him, with more points in games played since Chase Polachek, a good 5 years back. There's a bouncing puck on the far side. Shot save on a try by Liljegren. Second shot went behind the net. It was Jared Wilson who just threw the puck at the net looking for a rebound. Got one, and Liljegren nearly made it 2 goals in 2 games. But it stays out. This one comes in on Kylie. Likes to play. Gave it right to Hayhurst, and now a shot by Liljegren. That save. Rebound! No, it's kept out. Rebound. They score! And it's Brady Whiffen.
Well, I gotta say, I really thought it was behind Kylie the first time he whipped it, but given that it ended up right back on his stick with basically the same exact shot, looking the same exact way with the goal mouth, pretty much the same exact position, I don't think he was gonna miss a second time. I'm not sure where that first shot went. I gotta take another look at that one. But give some credit to Brady Whiffen for hanging in there 3 times, and the third was the key. He got that one to the back. You see that Kylie kind of makes this one happen by himself by trying to clear it, but puts it right on an RPI stick. Whiffen ends up with it, throws it, ends up hitting the post, I see. Gets his own rebound, and then basically puts it top shelf.
The second shot, Tom, was a little bit trickier than the first. It kind of carried more towards the goal line. They're going to look at this, but I don't see any reason why. It was a good paddle save by Kylie.
There's a couple of things I guess you could look at here.
Yep.
One is
Kylie makes a save.
There's certainly,
the net.
that's in the net. It's in
Absolutely.
the net. It's off of a Clarkson skate in the net, but it's a goal nonetheless. This is going to be pretty easy to uphold. So Brady Whiffen, after all of his trials and tribulations of getting himself into the lineup for RPI, appears to have what should be his first collegiate goal for the Engineers, and it is a long time coming.
Great paddle stop initially by Kylie. One for the highlight reel, if not for the second shot, just squeaking in behind him.
Absolutely, but you do have to put a little bit of this on the freshman netminder from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Kind of like Edina, just less cake, more Vikings. He tried to steer the puck away from the net, where he probably should have been better off just freezing it.
They point to the center spot. It is a goal.
So really, he kind of created that. I think he dished it off to, I believe that was Liljegren over along the far boards, who pretty much immediately took the puck. That whole sequence didn't have to happen if Kylie had just frozen the puck instead.
So the assists are to Liljegren and Hayhurst. So those two stay hot. 5th assist of the year for the freshman Hayhurst. An even strength goal for Whiffen, his first collegiate tally. 8:40 to go, first period. 1-1 now, RPI and Clarkson. Played around to the far corner by Karjalainen, and now Summers. That pass hit a skate, stays in the zone. Bell will just swat it into the far corner. Backhanded behind to the far side. And now Gervais. He can't clear it out. A shot from close range, and Polino, I think he just missed the net. Prapovessis now pinches in. Far side, Polino centering pass all the way through. Sticked out to center. I believe that was Gervais who did the poke check there to work it free all the way down. Picked up by Riley. Coming up on 8 minutes to go in the first period. 1-1 RPI and the Golden Knights. A bit of a rivalry game of sorts here. The more traditional of the RPI rivalries is Nanny chips it in. Of course, the schools being so similar education-wise and student base wise that See the similarities there. Shot comes in off a skate to the far side. Nanny, save made by Kylie, and that nearly turned into something out of nothing. And again, it was Wilson just throwing the puck at the net.
Official scoring on both the goals so far in this one at 5:04 of the first period, a power play goal for the Clarkson Golden Knights. Terrence Amorosa, his first of the season, third straight RPI Clarkson game that Amorosa has scored in, and fully half of his 6 career goals have come against RPI. The assists going to Nico Sturm and Juho Jokiharju. For the Engineers, an even strength goal at 11:13 of the first period. Brady Whiffen, his first collegiate goal, with the assists going to Victor Liljegren and Jacob Hayhurst. That has it tied up completely at 1. Worth noting for Amorosa, the goals that he scored against RPI last year, the game-tying goal in the game that was that finished in a tie, and the game-winning goal in the game that Clarkson won last year. Obviously, with Whiffen now scoring, his goal tonight cannot count for either of those categories. So,
well, that's good news, right?
Perhaps a step in the right direction for RPI in dealing with Terrence Amorosa. I am really shocked to look at this, just based on what we've seen from him against RPI, the way his shot moves, the way he can pick his spots. Because I promise you, I've seen that goal that he scored earlier tonight in the game that, I think it was the game that was played here in Troy last year.
Yeah.
He's got a shot. I'm kind of shocked that he's only scored 6 goals so far for the Golden Knights. He's a tremendous talent. I believe he's a draft selection of the Philadelphia Flyers as well, and you can kind of see why, at least against RPI.
Yeah, and as we are back to action here, it seems like every time a defenseman scores from the point against the Engineers, it's Amorosa doing it. Anyway, puck in the RPI zone far side, played by Melanson. A couple of Golden Knights fan on it, trying to keep it in the zone. They do eventually into the top of the circle. Fed back across, maybe ill-advised, as it went right to Melanson, who skates it out to center. Backhand feed near side. Morrow tried to knock it out of the air with his stick, couldn't do so. And it's Bourbonnais, the first one on it for the Engineers, looking to center, right in front. Hit off of the defenseman, or the center back checking with Sturm, and went wide of the goal. Now a giveaway, picked up Melanson. Near side, Bourbonnais, he can't get the shot away. Bourbonnais back up top for Prapavesis. Far side connection, Riley. Near point, Prapavesis. Pulls it back, takes a wrister on goal, and Kylie makes the save. And just, we're only seeing Kylie for about 13 minutes here, Tom, but he's a little bit unorthodox with how he moves around. And that time he went out and kind of gloved the puck along the ice, but you don't see a lot of goalies do. Yeah, and it certainly isn't helping his cause much. Clarkson needs to kind of tighten things up in their own end. They've been a little bit loose with the puck here. We saw that Riley misplaying the puck, or Kylie misplaying the puck, ended up with an RPI goal, and right there, Clarkson kind of gifting RPI another scoring opportunity. Need to be better, both teams do, with the puck in their own zone. As it's corralled here at the blue line of Clarkson's end. DeHaas picks it out of some skates and fires it across for Amorosa. Far side center ice, played on further. Liljegren has his man tied up in the neutral zone. Back to the line, it's Amorosa once more. Tipped into the RPI zone, no, broken up by Grant. In the center circle, DeHaas goes and finds Amorosa now on the near side. Shot into the RPI zone now finally by Gervais, as it'll be he and Liljegren who tussle in the far corner. Now Hayhurst, stick handles free. Hayhurst off the far boards trying to find Whiffen, who taps into the offensive zone. Race for the puck there. First one to it is Karjalainen to the near side, right to Hayhurst. Back to the point. A drive by Wilson over the top. Don't think that Kylie saw it, as it's going to be played near side again from center. Blocker stop to the near side half wall. Summers to center, yes, just across the line. Shot in by Bell. Engineers are offside, they need to touch up, and they do. Teko Karjalainen from Helsinki, Finland, up the far boards. First one to it, Bell, back in his own end. Now playing center for the Engineers for the last number of games. He is making his 8th appearance on the year in 10. Into the zone now, bouncing puck, swept away by Reno, as it was Troy Josephs knocked off the play, and now Bell back the other direction, chipped into the offensive end. First one to it, Jesper Orval from Halmstad, Sweden. So we have a little bit of Sweden versus Finland action going on here. Now we get a penalty coming up, a delayed call. Perry didn't have a chance to go to the bench. It's going to be an elbow, and it's going to go on the Golden Knights. So it'll send the Engineers to the man advantage for the second time in a 1-1 game. And this is what we were talking about before the game with Seth Appert about Jesper Orval drawing penalties. Orval went into the corner with Greg Morrow
was fighting for him with the puck. And once again, Morrow, a guy who's significantly bigger than Orval, stands 6'4", 205. But Orval's using that kind of size to kind of go at him and try and make something happen. He ended up on the ice, and Morrow gets called for elbowing, and the Engineers get a power play.
Puck around to the near corner. It's elbowing contact to the head on the Golden Knights. And it goes on Morrow. RPI setting up far side in the offensive zone. Here's center blue line Wilson. Near point, Tyranny's top of the circle, back up top. Wilson a drive, and a save is made on the pads with a low shot. Now Melanson tried to feed it back to Wilson. He needs to be careful here as he just got in the way of Vigneault, and now his shot, Vigneault's, goes behind the RPI cage. Wilson did just enough to get in Vigneault's way to not take an interference call, and now a centering pass, shorthanded try, saved by Perry on the right pad. As that shot came shorthanded from Brett Gervais. RPI having a little bit of trouble getting out of their own end, and it's a one-man wrecking crew of Sam Vigneault. And finally, it's RPI to center and DeVito. Back to the RPI zone. It's Wilson once more. He has 5 goals on the year, 4 of them power play, and 1 of them was an extra attacker goal, which doesn't quite count as a power play goal, but it looked like one if you were watching. Hayhurst will scoop it into the far corner and chase after it himself. 47 seconds to go on the RPI power play. Trying to move it back to the point without using the glove. Smart play. Prapavessis keeps it alive. Far side to the middle of the slot. Far side one-timer. Bourbonnais. Shot took a deflection and goes high and wide. Tie it behind the cage. It's Riley in deep. Doing his best not to take a holding call. Played out far side to center. And the Engineers will regroup in the neutral zone. It's Prapavessis. He'll ring it in near side. Around to the far corner it goes. First one to it. It's going to be Karjalainen. He'll play it back around near side. Chopped all the way down by Aaron Tho. Perry to corral behind his own net. Leaves it there for Riley and now drops it off. 10 seconds to go on the power play. Here's Orval. Stick handling through center. He'll just shoot it into the near corner. RPI changing on the play. Penalty about to expire. Now it's over. RPI 0 for 2 in the man advantage. Chipped up over the RPI bench. That nearly caught head coach Seth Appert. He had his hands up, but it missed him anyway. 3:06 to go. First period, 1-1 RPI and Clarkson.
Of course, Seth Appert, a former collegiate goaltender at Ferris State, so maybe had to fight his instincts there, I'm sure, with the puck coming at him. But not quite as protected as I'm sure he was back in his playing days. Faceoff comes just outside the RPI end. 3:06 remaining in the first period. Clarkson and RPI tied at 1.
Faceoff in the neutral zone, as Tom mentioned. Shot in by the Golden Knights. It's played around behind the goal. And they tie up in the far corner. There's an Engineer down over there. DeVito kicking at it. It was Reno, but he's back to his feet. Under 3 to go in the first period. 1-1 RPI and Clarkson from the Houston Fieldhouse. Golden Knights scored first on the power play, Terrence Amorosa. And it was Brady Whiffen for RPI. His first collegiate tally has things tied up. And a centering pass out in the middle of the slot. Boucher can't corral it. Wood can, and they're out to center. Jake Wood on the move, crossing center. Stick handling still into the zone far side. Steps through a check. Penalty coming here. And it's going to go against Teko Karjalainen. He came up high. Actually, I'm going to call him for holding. But nonetheless, it'll be another power play for RPI, their third of the game.
We've seen Jake Wood drawing penalties against the opposition as well, and this time he does it just by trying to power his way right past Teko Karjalainen. Kind of a lazy play there by the junior out of Helsinki, Finland. Could have gone after the man a little bit earlier than he did, but instead he waited until Wood was already past him to try and take him down. That's going to be a penalty every time, especially in this atmosphere, and the Engineers back on the power play. They're 0 for 2.
Puck to center on the clearance. And all the way back behind the goal, it's going to be Will Riley. Had a stretch of assists in 3 straight games, broken up a couple weekend ago. Moving into the zone is Liljegren, poked down to center, race for the puck, and Riley's going to get there first. Did battle with Josephs, and now into the zone comes Sturm shorthanded. These Golden Knights have looked dangerous a couple of times shorthanded already tonight, but that time the play fizzles out. 30 seconds into the RPI power play, it's Riley back the other way. Near side, Bourbonnais tips it deep before taking a hit from Morrow. Behind the cage, Tho tied up there. Centered all the way out in front, bouncing puck corralled by Prapavessis into the slot. Liljegren right in the middle of the slot, elected to pass it to the near wall. Fans a little bit frustrated there. They wanted him to shoot. Engineers maintain possession. Prapavessa's far side. Picked off on the pass from Bourbonnais. That's cleared all the way down. And it'll be stopped up behind the goal by Chase Perry. 55 seconds to go on the RPI power play. Shots are 10-4 Engineers. The game is tied at 1:12 on the clock as RPI starts its breakout. In the period, that is, Melanson will stick handle and chip it off the near boards. DeHaas trying to swat it out of the zone. Can Tyrannies keep it in? No. Bounces over his stick. Pirog carries out the other way, shorthanded. Shot, an easy blocker stop for Perry. Saw it all the way. Pirog far corner. Takes a shot from a tight angle. Rebound save. Loose behind. Where's the puck? It's going to be covered up by Perry. But maybe three too many shots shorthanded right now for Clarkson. They're getting in maybe not dangerous areas there, but not where RPI wants to be in general.
Well, let's just put it this way. If the team is shorthanded, probably shouldn't get a shot, a rebound, and then a second rebound opportunity. At some point, you really just got to go in there and play some defense instead of waiting for the puck to come free to you. And the RPI power play was just kind of waiting for somebody to regain the puck, but there was never really anyone tasked with it. And Clarkson's going to take that all day long. And the puck's down in the attacking zone, away from where they need to keep it away from, and they're getting scoring opportunities down a man. You can't beat that with a stick.
Draw here to the right of Perry. Still 26 seconds to go in the RPI power play. Be interesting to look at the stats after the period's over to see how many shorthanded shots Clarkson has versus RPI's power play. But here's a power play chance. Wood into the zone far side, stops at the top of the circle. Shot comes over the top of the net. Riley has it poked away. Loose to the far side, half wall with 12 to go in the power play. Diving poke check over there by DeRiso. Gets it out of the zone. And now it's going to be Vigneault to center. Overtaken by Paulino. Patrick Paulino, near side for Riley. Out of the box, Carolina. 3 for 3 on the kill here in the first for Clarkson. And I want to point out they were all full 2-minute power plays. Really a rarity here in 2016-17 as it's shot in deep, played by Perry. On for Nanny. He'll clear to center. Picked up there by Morrow with 1. And that will do it for the first period from the Houston Fieldhouse. It was the Golden Knights who got on the board first. A power play goal by Terrence Amorosa. But Brady Whiffen had the answer. His first collegiate goal for RPI, tying the game at 1-1. And that's where we stand.
Well, I'd say the story of the first period is certainly the Clarkson special teams, both the power play and the penalty kill, doing a tremendous job of getting things done. Clarkson getting their only goal so far on the power play, a great shot by Terrence Amorosa that made a 1-0. And then really 3 very strong penalty kills by the Golden Knights. That's obviously something you don't want to be in those situations, but when you're in those situations and you can penalty kill well, the Engineers were doing it earlier in the season. They were penalty killing well, and it was kind of making up for the fact they were taking a lot of penalties. Obviously, Clarkson probably shouldn't want to be spending as much time in the box as they did during the first period, but at least from their perspective, it's got to be good to see that penalty kill performing the way they have so far tonight.
And RPI, you're on.
18 half marathons, most of which in the past 2 years, every person has asked me, well, have you run a full? And I hadn't, only because I didn't want to put that much time into training. But as I thought about it, given the weather we had this past winter/spring, I've really been running since December. So I feel like I have the base. I can get to 26.2 miles. That's a good time of year for us as athletic professionals. And I'm going to give it a go. So Philadelphia, November 20th, I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, we look forward to that as well, and I'm sure we'll be following along. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us between periods.
My pleasure, Perry. Thanks.
I like some cookies.
We welcome you back inside the Houston Fieldhouse here on the campus of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, as we get set to bring you the second period of action. Tonight's ECAC hockey contest between the RPI Engineers and the Clarkson Golden Knights. Your score after one period of play is RPI 1 and Clarkson 1. My name is Tom Reel. I'm joined this evening by Perry Lascaris. And you're listening to all of this on your home for Engineers Hockey, 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy. Before we get started with the second period, we'd like to thank the Rensselaer Union. They provide the funding for WRPI and all of the club-related activity of the Institute, including WRPI and RPI TV's coverage of RPI hockey, football, and baseball. Just a reminder, WRPI is on the World Wide Web. Point your browser to WRPI.org. You can pick up WRPI's broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As long as WRPI is broadcasting, we provide that broadcast on our internet feed. Once again, that is WRPI.org. Also, be sure to check out RPI TV on Facebook, or I should say on YouTube. This game is being live streamed on YouTube, and you can check that out at youtube.com/RPITV.
Or Facebook, whatever.
Facebook, YouTube,
You sound like
Twitter,
an
Instagram. So what are these Instagrams?
like an old man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to point out the thing I was going to point out about the shots. Shots during RPI power plays were even at 3-3. During Engineers' 3 power plays, they're actually outshot 3-0 in their third and final power play of the first period by the Golden Knights.
Which, if I recall, came in about 2 seconds of game time.
Certainly.
Shot and 2 rebound opportunities.
But nonetheless, face-offs were pretty even. Clarkson 8-7. Nico Sturm was 4-0 on the draw to lead the Golden Knights.
I want to wish all the veterans out there a happy Veterans Day, a happy Remembrance Day for those of you listening in the Great White North.
Certainly do appreciate everything that folks who have served in the military have done, including my partner tonight, Tom Reel. Thank you personally. As we are underway here in this second period, RPI and Clarkson from the Houston Fieldhouse. Engineers and Golden Knights. Puck tied up right in front of the RPI bench. Finally pulled away by Hayhurst, and now Riley. Touch pass back and forth with Krapavassis, now back to Riley. Engineers skating from left to right as it's kicked along through center, swatted into the zone by Liljegren. And RPI will get a partial change. Played around by Tho. He nearly gave it away. Scooped out to center over the head of Pirog, and now Wilson down the middle through everybody. No one was even looking to touch that puck or tip it in. He was trying to maybe get some help from Bourbonnais, never came, and an icing on the Engineers.
They managed to go behind 6 different players on both teams. Go all the way down the ice. Yeah, just not sure anyone saw that as it squirted all the way down the ice. So with 19:13 remaining in the second period, we have our first stoppage of the second period. Your score is still RPI 1, Clarkson 1.
Draw to the left of Chase Perry. Just 47 seconds in. Amorosa off the draw, flips it to the far point for DeHaas. Now a shot comes wide of goal, bouncing puck to the near side of the net. Helped on further by Prapavassis, on for Victor Liljegren. Bit of a slow start to the season for Liljegren, but he picked up a goal against Yale, a team he seemingly enjoys to score against. He had the game winner last year in overtime against the Bulldogs. chipped along the near boards in front of the bench once more. Now played to the far side of the RPI end. Parkerino with some pressure coming from Barrasso. Haven't heard much from Devin Barrasso, but he has 7 assists on the year, and 8 points. Good start to his freshman season. And that highly touted, as Tom mentioned, the freshman first line. This one pops off the stick of Melanson as he was trying to fly into the zone. It'll be covered up by Kiley.
Yeah, I think part of the reason we haven't seen much from them is just because of all the time that the Clarkson spent killing penalties in the first period. But I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a pretty healthy dose of that third line. Brosseau, Nico Sturm out of Augsburg, Germany, and Sheldon Rempel, all 3 freshmen, but all 3 certainly big and talented.
Face off here in the Clarkson zone. Prapavessis has it at the near point. He gets tied up pretty well there by Boucher. And now it's played around to the far side corner. Perry DeRiso tied up by DeVito. Helped to the corner by Wood. Bouncing puck along the far wall, and this DeRiso skating to center. Throws it into the skates of Boucher. Does a nice job to corral it and play out far side wide for DeRiso. Big rebound, pops to the near circle. And Wood jumps on it there and clears to center. Too far for everybody. Carrialainen plays for the Golden Knights. On for Boucher. Boucher looking to filter it on towards the RPI goal. DeVito back checking once more. He's done a good job defensively from that center spot. And now Carrialainen near side, broken up by Wood. One hands a pass to the far side. Not allowed on it. Nanny fires it right back to him. And he'll try and chase it down, but it's going to be Summers for Clarkson to move it out to center. Far side connection, Boucher into the zone. Big hit, nearly going to the Clarkson bench was Wilson. They have to be separated as the puck is still being played in the RPI zone. Reno near side for Patrick Polino, spinning around to the half wall. Connection to center off the boot of Bell. Helped on further by the winger over there. That's Orval. An offside call. 17-19 on the clock in the second period. 1-1 RPI and Clarkson.
Kind of an unforced error by RPI. Polino was down on the near side, well away from the puck, but jumped over that blue line just ahead of it to have the whistle blown. So with 17-19 remaining in the second period, to face off just outside of the Clarkson end.
Shot in by Manley, but it hit the shin pad of Morrow on the far side and hopped right back out to center. Engineers turn it right back into the zone. Bell looking to feed it towards the net. It was broken up, and it goes behind the Clarkson goal. It's a big coming together of sticks and bodies, and it's going to be the Golden Knights who come away with it out to center. And another hit at the blue line. This RPI fourth line throwing its weight around as it's picked up by Polino. Back for Tommy Grant. The sophomore from Sparta, New Jersey, works it up ice. Tipped by Polino all the way in. Now the freshman defenseman Greg Morrow. 6'4", 205 pounds from Edmonton. Tied up by Orval. Stolen away by the Engineers' Hayhurst. He's tied up by a couple of Golden Knights. And finally pried away by Yoki Hario. Shot back in by the Engineers along the far side, Prapavessis. Corralled there by the Golden Knights, Troy Joseph. He flings it high in the air and all the way down the ice. This will be icing. Everybody stop what you're doing there in front of the Clarkson bench. That is not allowed on the change. 16:22 to go in the second. 1-1 RPI and Clarkson.
I'd say RPI junior Bradley Bell probably fortunate that his attempted open ice hit was missed. I think that whoever it was that he was trying to hit down there was able to avoid being hit, but Bell certainly left his feet to try to make that hit, which made it look like he was soaring through the air, given that it was right there all around the blue line, kind of an open ice opportunity for the junior from Sudbury, Ontario, but don't want to leave your feet while doing that. So in some ways, Bell fortunate not to connect on that hit.
Face-off win for RPI in the offensive zone. Drive by Wildgren. Rebound pops to the slot, and Morrow clears to the near side. Kept in. Shot by Prapavessis. Glove down by Amorosa. He'll backhand it off the far boards and all the way down on a deflection. Controlled there by Prapavessis. Now it's going to be Riley on the carry through center. Moving into the offensive zone. Riley driving in. Spins around in the near corner. He'll look to cycle. There's Liljegren. He's bumped there by DeHaas. Does a nice job to stay on his skates. Pop back to the point. A drive by Riley right into the chest protector of Kiley, and he'll hold.
We've talked a lot about Jacob Hayhurst doing pretty much everything but scoring this year. He does have 5 assists, but still looking for his first collegiate goal. Had another opportunity on the previous sequence in the Clarkson zone. And a big rebound popped right back to him, but hopped over the blade of his stick when he was waiting for that rebound in the slot. Just can't seem to get one to settle for him.
Draw here to the left of Kylie. Engineers doing a good job in the shots department so far. As it's flipped back out to center. And we're going to get a penalty coming up here on, oh, they're going to get both of them. Boucher and Parkerino are both going off here with 15:38 to go in the second. The referee over there made it very clear what the call he was making.
Yeah, they're calling interference on Reno, which is appropriate, and they're calling an embellishment call on Boucher, also fairly appropriate. Boucher was not happy with the assertion, but certainly went down a little easy. It was a play that was a little bit lazy by Reno, coming into the zone well away from the puck, but it wasn't that apparent that he was doing anything to hold Boucher up. It probably wouldn't have even been noticed had he not gone down to the ice. So with 15:38 left in the second period and the score tied at 1, we'll see 4-on-4 hockey for the next 2 minutes, barring any additional penalties.
Face off here in the RPI zone. Final from Canton. It was number 4, St. Lawrence 4, and RPI 1 in women's hockey. Whitney Wren scoring the lone goal for the Engineers. 4-on-4 hockey here. Amorosa at the near point fires a shot through traffic. That came all the way through to the pad of Perry, but he made the stop. Now one-handed back to the point by Vigneault. Too far as Amorosa had moved off the boards, and it's back out to center. Tip back into the RPI zone now. First one to it will be Will Riley for the Engineers. Riley on for DeVito, is stopped up against the wall. Plays it on further for Jake Wood, who just chips it into the Clarkson zone. There is James DeHaas, senior from Mississauga, Ontario, and a captain of this Golden Knights team. Through center to the RPI blue line, where it's controlled by the Engineers, Jared Wilson. Crossing center, Wilson into the offensive zone, stops there, drops it back. Wood wasn't ready for it, and now a chance here to break the other way. Vigneault, centering pass right on in front. Save made by Perry. It's next to his right pad, and we're going to get a whistle here, but a glorious opportunity for Clarkson on a bit of a giveaway there for RPI. Turned into a 2-on-1 and a partial break for Clarkson.
That was a great move by the Golden Knights to exploit what was really just a, I want to say lackadaisical, but it was certainly an opening that they had to turn a puck deep in the zone into a one-on-one opportunity with the netminder. A big stop by Chase Perry, and a quick whistle because the referee couldn't see it, but it was the referee behind the RPI cage. The puck was essentially just behind Perry. He couldn't see it, the referee couldn't see it. I think he assumed it was frozen, and it wasn't, but neither one could see it, so that's what happens. Officials for tonight's contest, Joe Carasone and Matt Reigert. Linesmen are Michael Emanation and Rick Lembo. Did not mention that earlier.
As we have a bit of a delay here, something's being explained to both coaches. Back to hockey here. Face off in the RPI zone near side. Kicked at by Tyrannese. Penalty coming up. They're going to get him for interference or a trip. Sure. 107. We're going to have 107 of a 4-on-3 power play before the Clarkson power play will continue.
We saw a lot of calls right off the face-offs during power plays against Union, both games, as a matter of fact. But I think some fans thought maybe they were makeup calls, but rest assured that they're just as eagle-eyed on calling that obstruction stuff in the face-off circle as they are in regular play, and that's been part of that as well. And Tyrannese has called for tripping, so we have 4-on-3 coming up for the next minute 7.
Face off here, one back to Amorosa. He has DeHaas on the far side. They trade places. Amorosa, a drive. Save made by Perry. Rebound pops to the near side. Perry stuck that leg out. Now a jam try fanned on at the far point by Rempel. Amorosa, near side circle. It's Rempel on at top of the circle, walking and takes a shot. Saved by Perry, looking for the deflection from Vigneault, who was pretty much on his own in front of the RPI netminder, but Perry did a nice job to see through the screen and make the save.
Terrence Amorosa, the junior out of Kirkland, Quebec. See that big blast of his once again. He missed the net on that one, but he didn't miss by much. He was kind of looking in the same spot that he scored on earlier in this contest. And he's on the power play. He's certainly willing and ready to shoot. And that's exactly what RPI wants to get a little bit more out of their defensemen on the power play.
Engineers can't clear. They fire it right into the skates of Amorosa. He'll line up a slapper. No. Fed across for Rempel, who wasn't looking for the pass. Engineers can't clear, however. To far side point, it's DeHaas. Up top, Amorosa. He'll take a drive. Big time deflection by Vigneault, and a pad stop is made by Perry. Exactly what Clarkson was trying to do. Vigneault at the far post. Tipped it on goal. Perry made the stop. Bouncing puck, gloved out of the air, swatted out of the zone, in fact, by Wilson. The junior from Calgary, Alberta, former Vernon Viper, filtered into the far corner of the RPI zone. We're about to go to 5-on-4. Same power play. Amorosa far side to Hawes. Near side, can't find Rumpel. Out of the box comes a pair, one each way. To the side of the net. Vigneault fed to the far point to Hawes. DeHaas carrying near side now into the skates of Rumpel. They can't quite find his tape. Here's the drive, saved by Perry. Rebound stopped by Perry as well. And DeVito will clear on the carry. Now flipping off the far boards. Couple of big PK stops here for Chase Perry, keeping this a 1-1 game. Still 27 seconds left to go on the Clarkson Man advantage. You are listening to RPI Hockey 91.5 FM. WRPI Troy. Golden Knights dump it in. Perry can't clear as he went behind the net to play. Tried to shoot it out far side. Clarkson Knight goes down in the circle. Engineers fire it down. Under 13 on the clock in the second. And now 5 seconds to go on the Tyrannese penalty. He's out of the box. Clarkson now 1 for 2 on the man advantage. They picked up the first goal of the game. Came at 5:04 the first, and now we have a whistle here and an offside call.
The puck came back into the zone. Broso was still trying to clear the zone after it had come out. Ended up right on his stick for the offsides. So we're back to 5-on-5 hockey now with 12:32 remaining in the second period. 2 goals in this one, 1 for each squad, both of them coming in the first period. It's 1-1 between RPI and Clarkson.
Face off, far side, picked up there by Manley. He'll try the far wall. It's broken up. And now fight for the puck. Joseph's in the far side circle. Joseph's back to the point. Poke free by Whiffen. He jumps back on it along the wall. Good battle for him. Hayer's trying to clear it out. Moved out past to Whiffen all the way down. He gets into a tussle with Morrow. And it's Clarkson behind their own goal. Yokohario up the far boards. That doesn't connect with Joseph's, and flipped right back into the Clarkson zone. Tho, far side connection. Joseph's right back in on the carry. Stick handles through a couple of Engineers. Now he does battle with Liljegren in the far corner. Hip check knocks him to the ice, and a clearing effort out to center. This will come in on goal. So Kiley has to play. Quick outlet pass all the way down. None of the Golden Knights want to touch it because they, for fear of a too many men call, and it turns into an icing on the Clarkson goaltender. Don't see that too often.
Well, you take it if you're Clarkson because you were right in the middle of a change anyway. So the guys you got out on the ice there are ready to go anyway. So the only real drawback is that the face-off ends up back in your own end. But a good heads-up play by Clarkson not to play that one, even though the attempted head-man pass by Kiley was
had good intentions. Yeah,
it was a good idea.
Trying to catch RPI maybe in a partial change. Didn't happen. Face-off in the Golden Knights zone after the icing call. 11:38 on the clock. In the second, shots now 14-12 in favor of the Golden Knights. 7-2 in the period for Clarkson, which includes that power play. Outlet pass, broken up kind of by Prapavezis, but it squeaks through for Joseph. Shot and a save made by Perry. He has needed to be sharp here. Now they square off. Nearly a fist up high from Joseph's on Riley. They'll need to be separated. Could have maybe been construed as a punch, and doesn't look like anything's going to come of this, but we'll see how they sort it out.
Well, one thing that Chase Perry was kind of struggling with at the very beginning of this season was sometimes some of those open shots he was struggling to kind of keep down and just freeze. He's been giving up rebounds on kind of open shots, and there he's able to pull that one in and hang on to it. But right now we're looking at the...
Our replay nearly caught it, but it looked like Troy Joseph's misconnecting on a left hand.
There was certainly an awful lot of pushing and shoving behind the net. It was certainly Joseph and Riley that were the main participants. Hard to see because of the stanchion where the camera is down there.
And they're only going to get Riley. Well, that's tough. I thought he handled the situation well.
That is tough, especially they're calling face mask, which is usually more than just a little.
Yeah.
Although they only have two minutes up on the board. Usually, with face mask, that can typically be a 5-minute major.
Right.
Pretty much every time they call it, but they're only calling the retaliation, which, as we mentioned last week, was what you risk when you retaliate against the hit. Josephs was the provoker, but they're going to only call Will Riley for the face mask. So probably RPI lucky to only be on a minor penalty kill if that is the case.
Third power play of the game for Clarkson. They're 1 for 2. They just came off of one. The unsuccessful of the two. Face off here in the near side of the RPI zone. Engineers win the draw, and now more pushing and shoving away from the puck. As it's Wilson getting into it, a bit of a jawing match with A.J. Fawson. Senior and a junior going at it there, but RPI wins the draw.
And honestly, Fawson's probably lucky he didn't get called on right off that face-off for interference.
Yeah, they've been calling a lot of that. That started a few years back, trying to buckle down on those plays. 11 minutes to go in the period. Clarkson now on the attack. The Engineers did win that big first draw to start the PK and clear, but right back into the zone now. Shot comes up the side of the net. Tap. No, it stayed out. Right, dancing along the goal line. Somehow it didn't go in. Far side circle now. DeHaas, a drive. That one hammered wide. I thought for sure the puck was going to go in. We had a similar situation at the same net in the first, and Brady Whiffen was able to redirect a second try in. I don't know how that one stayed out.
Would not be surprised to see them take another look at that one later.
Absolutely. From here, it looked like it did not cross the line, but of course, next whistle, they can go back and look at that and could still count. Here's Amorosa, near side circle, fed in front, right under the tape of Pravovestis, and he'll clear. 50 seconds to go on the penalty to Riley. 10-14 to go in the second in a 1-1 game. RPI and Clarkson. This one has all the makings to be another classic in this rivalry. Into the zone now. Good stick handling all the way in. Drop pass Amorosa, and that one goes wide. It was Sheldon Rempel who walked all the way into the slot before dropping it off to a wide open Amorosa. And we still can't quite tell how he only has 6 career goals coming in. It seems like he gets a lot of chances just like that one, and he has the lone Clarkson goal. Here's Amorosa stick handling now, trying to take on the Rempel roll as a man breaking was Melanson trying to find him. Engineer penalty killer was upended along the far side. That was Nanny, now shot deep, looking for Melanson. He'll go into the corner with Gervais, and it's Gervais who comes away with it in the end. Out of the box comes Riley, back to 5 aside, puck in the RPI zone. Trying to track it down is Manley. The freshman, Charlie Manley from Buffalo, works it up the near boards where it's corralled by Tho for Clarkson. He'll go D-to-D for Morrow, has to back up a bit, played it back behind, near side indirect, off the end wall for Tho. Up ahead now come the Golden Knights into the zone. It's Gervais, big hit by Liljegren on the far wall. Now Whiffen has it for the Engineers. Backhanded on far side. Too hot to handle for Hayhurst. Puck just bouncing at center now. Who wants it? Going to be Whiffen. Had it for a second, tried to play it off for Liljegren. Stolen right back and shot in deep by the Golden Knights. 8:42 on the clock in the second. 1-1 RPI and Clarkson here. No goals so far in the second period. Trying to play it out of the zone was Carolina, and he couldn't get it out. Second effort. He'll try the far side now, and some space for Tho. Wants to get a change and complete the switch. Now here comes Carolina in. Shot in the goal, just inside the right post. And it's Teko Carolina with his second goal of the year. Second collegiate goal for the junior from Finland.
Well, that was nifty. That was almost like a forward streaking into the zone almost. He was kind of coming back in to collect the pass. I was coming towards him, but he was moving with some speed. He kind of focused that into his stick, got one whipped towards the net, and he found the back of it. Great play by the junior out of Helsinki, Finland. Goes far side on Chase Perry. Well, he's got his team up. Now they're taking a look.
News, right? They have to go back and look at the previous one.
I don't think there's anything that they're looking on here. I think what they're looking on is the previous goal opportunity that Clarkson had during the power play. So they're going to take a look at that, and if that was a goal, then it's still 2-1, presumably. But then they have to put the time back on the clock as well, because play would have stopped with the Clarkson goal. and they would not have been on the power play for the rest of that time either. So
anyway,
presumably it's 2-1 Clarkson no matter how you slice it. The question is whether they put time back on the clock.
Just from our view and from the flow of the play, did not look like the puck crossed the line, although they're going to have the ultimate look at it here, and we can't quite see what they're looking at. Anyway, 8:23 on the clock in the second. It is right now 2-1 Clarkson on a goal by Teko Karjalainen. The junior, he's only played in this is only his 29th collegiate game for the Golden Knights here.
Now this might be confusing if they come out and wave off, because I'm pretty certain that the Karjalainen goal is going to count.
Yes.
So they're pointing to the center dot, and I think I'm going to assume that they're just saying that the Karjalainen goal is what counts.
Yeah, I don't think they want to come out and wave anything off. That would just be confusing.
I honestly cannot think of what they would be checking on with the Karjalainen goal.
No,
that was
clean,
completely clean. That wasn't even close.
They were looking at the previous goal. That's our understanding, and I think it kind of fits with what went on. That was our next whistle. Was my point.
Given what happened,
yes,
it would have to be damning evidence, and they almost certainly weren't going to find that anyway, so I'm sure they didn't waste too much time on it.
Anyway, the story here, shots are 10-2 in this period for Clarkson for a 17-12 overall edge, including a couple of power plays. They were unsuccessful on the two, but it's given them a bit of momentum. And of course, the shots come from the man advantage as well. Boucher spinning around towards his own zone, ran into the linesman over there, Rick Lembo. But both seem to be no worse for the wear, as it's going to be DeHaas up the far side boards. Big hit there by Wilson. Puck was just close enough. Or no, it wasn't. Interference coming up. Big hit now in the corner by Wilson, who wanted to get his money's worth, and now we're going to get the penalty. It's going to be on Wilson. It will be interference. I thought what I said was that the puck was just close enough. I was wrong. It was not close enough to the play.
Well, sometimes it seems like they're going to call interference when the puck is at their skates, but this one was more of a clear-cut actual interference call. It was kind of squirting away. The hit was a little bit later than you wanted it to be if you're RPI, so interference call. Once again, it's Jared Wilson who's the man who's heading off to the box. Second penalty today. His fourth in 2 games, and I believe he took a penalty or 2 against the Brown Bears last Friday as well, so he's been putting his own team kind of behind the 8 ball, forcing him to kill penalties. And as I mentioned earlier, he's also an important penalty killer for the Engineers. So that's kind of a double whammy when he's taking these penalties.
He leads the team now with 19 penalties on the year, or excuse me, 9 penalties on the year. And a big spot here. RPI already down a goal with 7:55 to go in the second. They'll go on the on the penalty kill for the 3rd time this period. As it's kept in by Amorosa. Came down, I think, at the netting. Finally get a whistle. 8 seconds into this power play for the Engineers. And yeah, it's a guy that the Engineers need on the ice, Jared Wilson. Keeps taking these penalties. That one, the problem for Wilson here was that the Clarkson player never actually had the puck at any point. It was kind of drifting by him, and he decided to hit the
but you still can't interfere with him going after the puck, which is the issue that he had in that.
He would have had a better argument
if
the Clarkson skater had touched the puck, which he did not at all.
He did not.
It kind of went on by. Amorosa with the puck at center, firing ahead for Sturm, now near side for Jokiharju. Now here comes Melanson, shorthanded, trying to walk in, elected to pass, and it was Rempel making the defensive play on the back check. It was Nanny and Melanson going into the zone. Instead of maybe taking a shot there, Melanson tried to feed it across, and that was broken up. Back come the Golden Knights into the zone. Brossaw into the zone. And now Rempel cross-ice feed out of the net was Perry to break up the pass. They did a nice job to do that. It would have been a clean play at the back door. Shot by Amorosa, blocked by bodies in front. Now Nico Sturm, far side. Brasso over to Amorosa. He'll think about a shot. Now feed it back near side to Brasso. Shot through traffic, and again, a man in front. It was Nico Sturm at 6'3", 197, trying to create a screen in front of Perry, and again, Perry makes the save.
Scoring on Clarkson's second goal, an even strength goal at 11:37 of the second period. Goal scored by Teko Karjalainen, his second goal of the season, second collegiate goal. The assists going to senior Jordan Boucher and sophomore Aaron Tho.
Draw to the right of Perry. This is a late change for the power play unit for the Golden Knights. 58 seconds to go on the Wilson penalty. We get a whistle here, and too much time taken by Clarkson. Vigneault is tossed. That'll send Jordan Boucher, the senior from St. Therese, Quebec, into the face-off dot to take on DeVito. And they will eventually have a puck dropped here. Clean win for the Golden Knights. Back to the near point, Summers. That one fired into the skates of Boucher. Puck popped in the air for a moment, and now it's lost along the near wall. Reclaim, no. Pass back to the point, eludes Summers. It's out to center. And Clarkson back to his own zone now to play. Summers back for DeHaas. James DeHaas, very good puck-moving defenseman, and finally a senior. 6 points on the year for him. Now a shorthanded chance, maybe. It'll be fired in from center by DeVito, who wanted a change, and gets it here as Clarkson will play for behind its own goal. 6:20 to go in the second. It's 2-1 Clarkson. And it'll be moved in by Boucher into the zone, poked away by Grant. Help to the near corner. Tie up there, Vigneault. Far side point, Boucher, lots of room for DeHaas on the near side. Pulls it back, takes a shot that goes wide. Glove down by Prapavessis in the far corner. Played on further. Bourbonnais can't clear. Tyrannies can't clear. Into the slot now. Fossen tried to play it across. That was broken up by a defensive stick. I think it was Bourbonnais. Penalty over. Back to 5 aside. That pass into the skates of Summers does a nice job to just corral it and fire it in deep. Fossen there trying to work it back to the point. Out to center. That pass broken up. Engineers doing a pretty good job getting sticks in the way of passes. But now Clarkson right back into the zone, and the shot is saved by Perry on the try by Josephs from the far circle. It's been a bit of a firing range in this period for Clarkson. Totals now up to 21-12. As it's fed back to the far point. Morrow a drive. That one stopped by Perry on the right pad. Tyrannies. He ties up with his man in the near corner. Now Josephs on further for Gervais. He's bumped by Grant but stays on the puck. Down low now, wrapped around to the near corner. 5 minutes to go in the second. Engineers just trying to get the puck out of the zone. Finally, Melanson does the job. Far side for Bourbonnais, but not in deep. Picked up Tyrannies. He'll backhand it to the near side of the neutral zone. Gervais has it there and just backhands it right back into the RPI zone. Prapavessis now shoots it near side. Engineers changing. Melanson in the air towards the line. Glove down there, but picked up for a second by Hayhurst. He couldn't corral. Carry a line and far side. Into the zone near side now is Brasso. He gets it deep. Broken up by Reno. Parker Reno has the puck off the far boards for Whiffen, who chips it on further for Liljegren. Victor Liljegren behind the goal. Tried to play it to the near corner. Hayhurst has it there. To the near point for Reno. Through traffic, tipped over the top of the net by Whiffen. Looking for goal number 2 on the night. Just got a little bit too much on that tip. We have a broken stick in the zone, the Clarkson zone that is, and it was Karjalainen's, but luckily for him, the Golden Knights get it deep and he can go off and get a change and a new twig. Here's Reno in his own zone. Near side connection, tipped in deep by Liljegren. Under 4 to go in the second. 2-1 is the Clarkson lead. Amoroso now in the near corner of his own end. Tried to feed it center. It was broken up by a skate, and right back behind the goal they go. It's DeHaas. James DeHaas with it there. Detroit Red Wings draft pick and former Penticton V will work at far side. Nearly picked off by Nanny. Again, it's going to be Wilson off the far glass and out to center. Could not be kept in the zone by Boucher. Wilson now, near side Wood, touch pass on further for DeVito. Puck kind of hopped on him, had to wait for it to come down and then swats it into the zone. DeHaas far side, wrapping around for Doriso. Right to Wilson, who shoots it right back in. Once more, it's Amorosa behind his own goal. Tries to skate away from Wood, using the net as a screen. He'll work it far side. Now Vigneault to the RPI line, broken up there, carried right back in by Boucher. He'll stick handle around Wilson, into the slot, a shot by Vigneault, and the backhand goes wide. Picked up near side wall, it's Tho, back up top for Morrow. Far circle Vigneault, into the slot. Boucher on his backhand couldn't get the shot away. Nanny with a nifty move on for Wood. He was tripped up just a bit through center, not enough for a call. Now Tho with it for the Golden Knights. Far side connection, center ice moving. It's Josephs with speed into the zone, far side circle. Shot coming over the top of the net. It'll rattle around to the near point. Tho keeps it in. Along the wall, in deep, it's Josephs once more. Josephs wraparound try, and he fed it all the way through the crease. To the near side, it's Polino. Chip towards center. Orval has it. Orval stick handling, strong on the puck, moves it to the offensive zone. Still Jesper Orval. He gets taken down on his way in, and that's going to be a penalty on the Golden Knights. Good bit of stick handling as Orval, a bit slow to get up, but he made a nice move in the neutral zone, a nice move at the blue line, and he draws the penalty here on Clarkson.
Once again, it's the sophomore out of Hallstead, Sweden, putting RPI on the power play. That was, I think that's got to be 5 in the last 2 games that he's been taken down or obstructed. And bear in mind that, you know, 5'9", 170, that is extremely slight for a hockey player.
Yeah.
But he's willing to go in there toe-to-toe with guys that are a lot bigger than he is. And a lot of times that's all it takes in order to get some calls, because you can get tossed around pretty easily by bigger guys. We saw Luke Karate getting lots of calls just because he was hitting guys that were smaller than him. Jesper Orval's using that to his advantage.
Clarkson wins the defensive zone face-off and clears it all the way down past the skate of Riley. Perry will stop it behind the goal. Pravovessis hands it off for Riley there. Riley dropped to the near side for Pravovessis, who plays it back behind. The forecheck pressure came from Nico Sturm. RPI power play with about 1:50 to go in the period. There's about a 20-second difference. And now we get another penalty here. And it's going to be interference on the Golden Knights, so a huge opportunity for RPI to tie this game. There's 1:47 left in the period. 1:31 of 5-on-3 power play time, barring an RPI goal.
Well, heading off is Kelly Summers, junior out of Golden Lake, Ontario. So that puts a defenseman in the box, along with those. So that's 2 defensemen in the box for Clarkson, and then a 5-on-3 power play opportunity for RPI as well. RPI is going to call timeout and think this one over. They've got 91 seconds of 5-on-3, and after the absolute artillery barrage that they've had to deal with in the second period here, if they can get one late, get this one back to a tie score, that would be a tremendous kind of a weight off their shoulders, I would think. The shots on goal here in the second period are officially 15-2 in favor of the Golden Knights, and that's indicative of the way things have gone. A lot of that has to do with the fact that RPI has been the one killing penalties here in the second period. They've had 3 power plays, or I should say Clarkson's had 3 power plays. One of them was a bit truncated. It was also 4-on-3 for much of it, but nevertheless, it's been RPI having to kill penalties. Some big shots coming from the outside for Clarkson so far in this one. Terrence Amorosa has a goal. He also has 4 shots on goal. Got Perry Deriso and Sheldon Rempel with 3 each. Troy Joseph, Nick Pirog with a couple. So really getting them from all over the place. And now RPI's got the opportunity. Minute 31 of 5-on-3. That's most of the remainder of the second period, as they've got 1:47 remaining in the middle frame. This is a big opportunity for RPI. They're getting their best power play guys out there. Bourbonnais, DeVito, Tyrannies, and Whiffen are the forwards, and Jared Wilson, the lone defenseman quarterback in this power play.
Will be a big one here and a big moment in this game. No matter how you slice it or how it ends up. Here's your power play. Bourbonnais with DeVito and Whiffen. Tyrannies and Wilson at the points, and the puck is tied up in the far corner to get things started. Work back towards the point, skips past Tyrannies, and it's out to center. Race for the puck, a short-handed breakaway. Walking in, saved by Perry on the try by Gervais. Now Gervais once more, he's all by himself. A shot on the save by Perry once more. Bourbonnais drops it back for Tyrannies. Quick outlet pass far side for Whiffen. Drop pass to Vito into the zone. And now they'll set things up. Tyrannies, far point, near point, Wilson, back to Tyrannies. Puck has to be settled, and they do. Now they trade places. Wilson, far side wrister, save made, rebound loose in the slot, and Clarkson clears. And it was Deriso did the job. And a big clearance at that, as this 3-man PK unit just went on a rush the other way, and now they have to defend. They get 1 man changed. 1 minute left in the second period. Still 36 seconds of 5-on-3 power play time as Tyrannies is tied up by Amorosa. And now Bourbonnais on for Tyrannies. 27 seconds to go on the power play. Liljegren far side for Wilson. Hands it off for Tyrannies. Tyrannies, shoulder fake. Down low, Whiffen, back up top for Tyrannies. Wilson, a drive, he scores! Power play goal for Jared Wilson, his 6th of the year. and we're tied at 2.
Well, we've been talking about Jared Wilson for all the wrong reasons so far tonight, but that was Jared Wilson for all the right reasons. It's one of the big reasons why he's on this team. He's got a great shot on the power play. In a lot of ways, we've been talking about one of his counterparts all night long. He's kind of the Terrence Amoroso of this team. He's got a big shot. He likes to use it on the power play. Up to men with the man advantage is when you want to try to unleash that. RPI got away with having 4 forwards out there earlier with a couple of ones that squirted out of the zone, but they got settled back down, and Jared Wilson unleashes that big bazooka of his to make this one a tie game.
Power play continues for RPI. Another one, of course, after the power play goal. Another 32 seconds to go on that. Just a 5-on-4 variety. It's fired down. Where did it go? It's out of the zones. A couple of kids quick to hop out of their seats. That's good awareness by those two as they're able to get a free souvenir with 13 seconds to go in the second. We have ourselves a tie game.
It's one of the risks. One of the risks you take when you've got 4 forwards out there is that you've only got 1 D-man on the point, and defensemen are more skilled at keeping the puck in the zone. That's part of their basic skill set. It's not for Evan Tierney's. So when the puck came out towards him, it was more difficult for him to try to keep it in the zone. But as I mentioned, RPI able to overcome 2 clearances during that 5-on-3.
This power play will carry over to the third, and that's that one. And Noah Melanson hit off his skate with 1 second, and that will do for the second period. More excitement in this one. Clarkson regained the lead, his second lead of the game, but again, it did not last all that long as RPI ties things up in the final minute. A power play goal for Jared Wilson, his team-leading 6th goal of the year, and they've all looked just a bit like that, a bomb from somewhere in the middle of the slot. In the high slot area, a 2-2 game after 2.
Love to see if this gets updated. I didn't hear exactly who the goal was awarded to. It says Riley Bourbonnais on the stat sheet. May have been tipped in front. I thought it got through everybody cleanly. That certainly would be my assertion without seeing it again. But at the very least, set up by Jared Wilson. They're announcing it right now, so we'll see exactly what the official call is. Yep, they're calling it for Wilson on the power play at 19:29 of the second period and made it 2-2 Engineers. The assists are going to Evan Tierney's and Jacob Hayhurst. So that is 2 assists this evening for Hayhurst. That gives him 6 on the season. And just like that, it was a period dominated by Clarkson for a number of reasons. They had the man advantage 3 times. They were just absolutely brutal with the puck in the RPI zone, blasting away at it. Full marks to RPI's Chase Perry. 16 saves during the second period have been absolutely crucial. And then some late issues for Clarkson with their a couple of penalties that were certainly ill-advised, especially by 2 defensemen. And the Engineers are able to cash in to keep this one a 2-2 game in a game that the statistics would indicate that they really probably don't have much business being in right now.
And Chase Perry, once again, for really the 3rd straight game, has been absolutely fantastic. And barring that late bit of collapse, really, by the team, you could maybe put some of the blame on him in that Yale game. A couple of goals he probably wants back, at least 1. But again, tonight, he's been absolutely solid, keeping RPI in it. They have themselves a 2-2 game after 2. Anything can happen, of course, in the 3rd.
And one thing I want to mention is that I've been very impressed with the Clarkson offense, and especially their offense that they've been able to get from the back. It's becoming more and more and more important in the ECAC and college hockey in general, is being able to start something by throwing the puck on net from the blue line. And both of Clarkson's goals tonight have come from defensemen. Amoroso scored in the first period. Carrialainen scored for Clarkson in the second period. But some big shots also by James DeHaas. And I really, really like that top line for Clarkson. Boucher, Vigneault, and DeRizo. They just look comfortable with the puck. It hasn't really been so much a thing where RPI's defense needs to tighten up. Those guys just look solid. They've got 2 top lines that are all juniors and seniors, and they've got some big guns from the back. That kind of helps them make up for a little bit of inexperience in net. But this Clarkson team, I have to say, through 2 periods of seeing them tonight, they may be the best team that we've seen RPI playing against at Houston Fieldhouse this season so far, and the fact that they're going into the second intermission with a 2-2 tie, I think speaks volumes about RPI's willingness to stick to it and not give up against a team that's been really, really good tonight.
And with that, Tom, we'll have more to talk about in our second intermission. Well, Tom and I will be back to talk about what's going on in all of college hockey, as well as a little more analysis from this one. Your score once again after 2, RPI 2 and Clarkson 2. You're listening to RPI Hockey, 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy.
We'll be making rank in Princeton after 2 periods. It's Harvard 2, Princeton 2. All the rest are also after 2 periods. In New Haven, it's Colgate 3 and Yale 1. Hampton, Connecticut, Quinnipiac 3 and Dartmouth 2. From Providence, Cornell 4, Brown 1. And after 2 periods in Schenectady, St. Lawrence 2, Union 1. The Engineers take on St. Lawrence tomorrow night right here at Houston Fieldhouse. Game time 7 o'clock. It's RPI Cultural and International Student Night. Purchase your tickets at the Fieldhouse box office. The puck drops again at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. The winter time team will play Mercyhurst right here at the Fieldhouse on November 18th. It's a 3 p.m. game. Come on out, support the winter hockey team. November 18th at 3 p.m. right here at the Houston Fieldhouse.
You're busy, and sewer shops can make your life easy with all of our great easy food options. Whether you're grazing on the go or painting up dinner, egg wedges, hot and cold subs, deli dogs, chicken tenders, meatballs, and introducing Stewart's new green salads.
These are the treats.
And the new Stewart's Kitchen, along with the Stewart's hot rice, available for bowls, now in packaged meals. More up in Stewart shops you need.
inside the Houston Fieldhouse here on the campus of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. We're set to bring you the third period of tonight's game between RPI and Clarkson. The score after 2 periods of play is RPI 2, Clarkson 2. My name's Tom Reel. I'm joined by Perry Lascaris. Listen to all this in your home Frontiers Hockey on 1.5 FM WRPI Troy.
Just about set for the third. RPI will be on the power play for about 20 odd seconds.
Not long.
I don't remember what was left on it, but they should probably put it on the board. They've forgotten over there. Forgotten about us. Anyway, RPI with the puck in the neutral zone. There it is, 2 seconds to go. 1, and it's over. Puck in the far corner. Morrow near side for Summers. Broken up there by DeVito. DeVito walking in! A shot and a save made by Kiley, and he holds on. A glorious opportunity in the opening stages of the second period. Jimmy DeVito was denied.
Now that we're into the third period, I'd like to thank the Rensselaer Union. They provide the funding for WRPI and all the club-related activity of the Institute, including WRPI's coverage of RPI hockey, football, and baseball. As a reminder, WRPI is on the World Wide Web. Point your browser to WRPI.org. You can pick up WRPI's broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as long as WRPI is broadcasting. We provide that broadcast on our internet stream. Once again, it's WRPI.org.
Face-off in the Clarkson zone. Shots in the game currently. 24-16. Clarkson, as it's backhanded at far side by DeHaas and into the RPI zone. A shot comes, blocker stopped by Perry, pops over the top of the net. Did it go into the netting?
That's going to have to be, yeah.
I guess so.
Official pointing up kind of indicates that.
I thought it just went over the top of the net.
It didn't have that much on it. The glass on either end is significantly higher than a lot of places they'd expect.
I don't think it hit the netting. I think they just lost sight of it, honestly.
So the face-off is going to stay in the RPI end. 19:22 remaining in regulation.
It would have anyway.
Yeah.
Engineers might have caught a break there because I don't think it actually left the ice. But anyway, not long into the third period, tied 2-2. Each team with a shot so far here in this frame. It's not quite a minute old. Draw to the left of Chase Perry, won by the Golden Knights. Back to the point, DeHaas. He looks to work it down low. Gervais gets hit there by Hayhurst. Gets back on the puck, however. Gervais to the point for DeHaas. DeHaas pulls it back, takes a wrister, intentionally wide of the goal. Picked up by Wilson, stolen away from him by Boucher. Centering pass broken up by Reno, and now here comes Hayhurst, stick handling to center. Jacob Hayhurst trying to one-hand a pass across, that's broken up. And now here's Pirog. Stops at the near half wall. He'll dump it in. That one stays on the ice as well. Comes down in the near corner. A tie up there. Comes loose to the near wall. Played towards the point. Past Amorosa. Race for the puck, and Harris nearly walked away with it. Amorosa just tied him up as the Engineers dump it in. Minute and a half into the third period here at the Houston Fieldhouse. 2-2 game. Clarkson has held a pair of one-goal leads, but right now we're tied as stick handling through center and dumping in is Brent Gervais. Behind the net, centering pass out in front, and it trickled off the stick of Vigneault. And the Engineers corral, chipped off the glass, race for the puck. Melanson trying to jump on it. By the time he gets to it, it's in the far corner. He overskates, played by Bourbonnais. Bourbonnais back to the point. Faking a shot, taking a shot. Riley hit the shin pad of Vigneault. Now a 3-on-2 chance for the Golden Knights. Perry DeRiso into the zone. On for Vigneault. Far side circle shot. Saved by Perry as he denied Boucher in the far circle. Now a shot by DeRiso. Loose in front. Corralled there by Riley to the near side for Prapavesis. Both teams with pretty solid opportunities to break this tie here in the period as it's played by Melanson and kicked into the zone by Tierney's on goal. So Kiley had to make the stop. Shots 27-16 as we play here early in the third. Carry a line in far side, pass off the mark, trickles all the way to Prapavesis in his own zone. Far side connection to Riley, near side to the Clarkson line. Orval gets tied up right across the blue line. Prapavesis overskates, and now a chance to break again. Here comes Rempel in. A shot off the side of the cage, and it went wide right. Looking for that near post, didn't work. Now a shot from the far point, easily gloved by Perry. He'll hold onto that one off the stick of Nico Sturm.
You kind of see Rempel taking a look at that top shelf spot with this shot. He's kind of looking, waiting, kind of gauging. He just missed that what would have been right over The glove shoulder of Chase Perry ends up off the side of the cage and going wide, but Rempel certainly had an awful lot of space to size that one up, and the freshman from Calgary, Alberta did not miss by much.
Face off in the RPI zone, far side circle, win by the Golden Knights again. At the point, it's Morrow. He'll filter it down low, centering pass right out in front, stopped by Perry. Rebound chip to the near side. Liljegren picks it up there. And now another centering pass. That one trickled all the way through, and they score. They take the lead. Troy Josephs makes it a 3-2 Clarkson lead.
That was a tight angle shot, too. That was a rebound that came free to him to the right of Chase Perry. Didn't have much space to make that one work, but he puts it behind the RPI netminder and into the back of the cage. So for the third time tonight, Clarkson moves ahead by 1 goal. That's just good skill there by the senior out of Whitby, Ontario, to put Clarkson back ahead in this one on the Golden Knights' 30th shot of the game.
The goal for Josephs is 4th of the year. He's having a pretty solid start to his senior campaign. 3-2, Clarkson leads by a goal for the 3rd time this evening. Amorosa backing up into his own zone, now DeHaan. Cross ice feed, good connection there. Broken up in the RPI zone, Polino knocked off his stick. DeHaan picks it up there. He'll go D-to-D for Amorosa. Amorosa back for DeHaan in the neutral zone. Crossing center, he'll just chip it in. That will be played with a high stick. And guess not. Thought it was played there. Shot in from the far wall, sticked away by Perry. And now it's moved out to center. Bell on the move. He gets stood up right across the line, kept in by Orval, who just sweeps it in. Shot back in by the Golden Knights. 4 minutes into the 3rd period, Clarkson has a 3-2 lead. Far side connection, Tyrannies to center, tipped into the zone by the Engineers. Shot around to the near point. Pirog touches it to center with speed. Now comes Gervais. Drop pass there, and they're offside, as Devin Barrasso, the freshman from St. Lambert, Quebec, was a little bit early across the blue line.
Well, if they were offside, they weren't offside by much, and I like the way that was kind of setting up for the Golden Knights. I really like the way that their forwards seem to complement each other pretty well. That top line that I've been mentioning pretty much all night, 2 seniors and a junior, Boucher, Vigneault, and DeRiso, they looked ready to move in for an opportunity to take the Golden Knights up by 2.
Now Wilson in his own zone, chips it off the glass. It'll go all the way down the ice. They wave off the icing. Nanny trying to beat his man, carry a line into the puck, but it's the Finnish defenseman who gets to it first and shoots it back the other way. Will this be icing? Yes, on Clarkson. Stoppage in play. So a long way to go here in the 3rd period. RPI playing catch-up once again, as both teams are even currently.
The shots on goal here in the 3rd period look about as lopsided as they were during the 2nd period. They're 7-1 in favor of the Golden Knights right now, and that's something that needs to change if you're RPI, because they're probably not going to get another opportunity like they had late in the 2nd period to get themselves back into this one.
Face off here, and now Vigneault gets tossed from the dot. That'll force Perry DeRiso in to take on DeVito. Kicking at it was Wood. He couldn't corral it, and it's the man who was tossed from the dot, Vigneault, getting out of the zone with the puck. Penalty coming up here. It's going to be a slash. And the Engineers, down a goal, will have to try to kill off a penalty with 15:13 on the clock in the 3rd.
This one's easy to file away under things RPI didn't really need right now. The slash is against RPI senior Jake Wood. So the Georgetown, Ontario native is going off for the Engineers. That puts Clarkson on their 5th power play of the game. They're 1 for 4 so far, but as I've been mentioning, that power play looks pretty good. They've got those big blast opportunities from back to the point, and right now they've got the Haas and Summers out there ready to go to town.
Puck one back. Here is Summers, fakes his shot. And now Vigneault all the way through. Played around behind Grant. Tie up behind the goal, played back towards the point. It'll be corralled there by DeHaas. Into the skates of Bourbonnais. Now to the far point. That one comes all the way in on goal, saved by Perry. And he'll hold on to that.
Good move by Bourbonnais to break up those D-to-D passes. Sometimes when you can get the tie-up back by the blue line, that's a great opportunity to go the other way with it pretty quickly, but an equally good move by DeHaas to keep that from going out.
Face off here in the RPI zone. Still a minute and a half to go on the Clarkson power play. Play behind the goal, big time hit behind the cage, but it pops past Summers all the way out of the zone and back to center ice. Vigneault, far side, gave it away. Shorthanded in is Reno. He elects to just dump it in. Karams off the glass behind the Clarkson goal. Lou Nanny providing a bit of forecheck pressure, but it's played by the Golden Knights. And James DeHaas. Summers into the skates of Vigneault, now far side, and this Clarkson power play not looking very organized, trying to get out of their own end, and once more they're forced back to their own zone. DeHaas now will shoot it in. It'll ring around to the far side corner. Back to play is Reno, off for Wilson, who fires it all the way down once again. Left behind the cage by Jake Kiley, freshman goaltender for these Golden Knights. He's seen a fair amount of action so far this year. Now Rempel on the carry into the zone, poked off his stick, turning and trying to shoot there was Yacario, but right back to center with the puck. Second effort by DeVito clears it all the way down. 20 seconds to go on this rather uneventful power play for the Golden Knights. It is their 5th of the evening. In deep, it's Grant. To the circle, Rempel. Far side connection. Amorosa through traffic. Loose in front. Still can't find it, and it trickles in. Nobody could find the puck. The penalty was over. It'll be an even strength goal, but nonetheless, it's 4-2 Clarkson.
I don't know if Evan Tierney knew that the puck was at his feet because he moved the puck closer to his own goal, which is pretty much the opposite that you want to do. Instead of moving it over into the corner and moving it closer to the goal, I think that helped Clarkson keep it down low there. The original shot was by Amorosa, who is as useful as he has pretty much always been on the power play. And essentially, it was just a loose puck that was put back by Nico Sturm for his first collegiate goal. Tierney's had it on his blade, but he ended up pushing it closer to the RPI net, and Sturm was the one that picked up on it.
Face off here at center, as RPI now finds itself down 2 goals for the first time this evening. Here's Bourbonnais in the near corner. With the puck, looking for someone to pass to. He'll carry to the far side corner. Here's still Bourbonnais. All the way to the point with it now. He'll turn and fire it wide a goal into the near corner. Melanson on it now. He takes the hit. Tierney's with it there. He's bottled up. Trying to skate for the puck. Penalty coming here. They're going to get Brett Gervais for holding up Evan Tierney's. And that's a matter of Tierney's moving his feet. He draws the penalty.
And this is a crucial moment for both of these squads. RPI's got to get themselves something out of this power play opportunity. They're 1 for 4 so far this evening. And for Clarkson, they've got to get their penalty killers out to lock this one down, because it's an opportunity for RPI to get themselves back into this contest, and that's the last thing that Clarkson wants right now, is for the home team to be back into it.
Tie up on the dot, and it's cleared all the way down. Opening face-off to the penalty won by the Golden Knights. They clear. It'll be Riley to start things out for RPI down the middle. Near side behind Bourbonnais, turns around and flings it in. To the far side it goes. DeRiso clears it right past Prapovessis and all the way down the ice. 4-2 is the Clarkson lead with 12 minutes to go in the third period. Prapovessis fed back across to the near side of his own zone for Riley. Chipped off the glass. More pressure. Vigneault steals it away shorthanded. At the blue line, he'll turn back and just rag the puck through the neutral zone. Still Vigneault. Now flipped down the middle of the ice. Riley can't glove it. It skips by him all the way to the end wall. Played around far side. Hayhurst. He'll start the breakout. Penalty is just about half over already. Hayhurst on the move. Stick handling. He'll chip it off the wall and try to chase it down. Help to the near wall by Carrialainen. Kept in by Riley. Far side connection. Prapovessis back pedals towards the blue line. Far side now. Holding it is Hayhurst. 50 seconds to go on the power play. A shot right on, and a clean look there for Hayhurst. It looked like Kylie saw it all the way.
Scoring on Clarkson's 2 goals here in the third period. An even strength goal at 3:06 of the third period. Troy Joseph's his 4th of the season. The assists going to Harold's Egla and Juho Jokiharju. That made it 3-2, and then an even strength goal by Nico Sturm at 6:50 of the third period. The assists to Jokiharju and Brasso. That makes it 4-2.
Puck work to the far corner. DeVito trying to pin it against the wall there. Whiffen in there to try and dig it out with a couple of Golden Knights. Finally work back to the point. Wilson in, shot coming, glove save, rebound poked on goal. It went just wide. A sweeping poke play went wide by Melanson. As they tie up there, back to the point, Tierney's across for Wilson, a drive, can't save. Melanson trying to find it, works it back to Wilson. Now Melanson once more, 18 seconds to go on the power play. Wilson, near point Tierney's, down low, good connection, DeVito. He'll pull it back out. Up top, Tierney's again. Wilson corrals it. Far side, Melanson, 7 to go on the power play. Whiffen, up top, Melanson, fakes a shot, takes a shot, save. Rebound comes to Joseph, and he clears the center. That'll do it for the power play. Looked like the Engineers had a couple of chances there late. They can't convert. 10.5 to go in the third. 4-2, Clarkson with the lead. Riley up the far wall. Sliding play by Amoroso. Almost like a catcher trying to stop a wild pitch, but he kept the play alive in the neutral zone and gets it deep. Puck in the far corner. Riley trying to clear past Amoroso all the way down. I think he touched it, or no. I'm wrong. Icing on RPI.
Worth mentioning that Juho Jokiharju, the sophomore out of Tampere, Finland, in just his 12th collegiate game, came into tonight's contest with 3 goals in 6 games this season. He has 3 assists this evening. Those are his first 3 collegiate assists. So,
breakout game.
Certainly a breakout game for the sophomore out of Finland.
Draw here in the RPI end, needing a pretty early goal if they want to put pressure on. At the end of this third period, chipped off the far boards out to center. Polino high in the air into the Clarkson end. Chased down, Bell runs headlong into the wall with Summers. Around to the near boards, corralled by Vigneault, and he's out to center ice. Sam Vigneault using that long reach to feed it through, all the way through to the far corner. Summers backhands it in deep. First one to it, Prapavesis. He takes a whack there from Jokiharju. And now it's going to be Boucher. Vigneault, a shot and a glove save made by Perry, with one of the Golden Knights flashing in front of him.
Well, RPI on their last power play, they looked a little bit dangerous. They certainly cycled the puck well. They did take a few shots, which is something that RPI fans complain about with some regularity on the power play. That RPI will hold the puck, they'll get a couple of passes off, and they won't take shots. They did get some opportunities, they just weren't able to connect on them, and that's going to be one of the laments if the Engineers aren't able to come back in this one and if they weren't able to pull one in on that power play. But you still have to give full shots and full marks to the Clarkson penalty kill, which has been great this evening. 1 for 5. The only, I should say, RPI's power play is 1 for 5. That makes Clarkson's penalty kill 4 for 5. And you can't fault them too much for not being able to stop that one that did go in, as that was a Jared Wilson blast on a 5-on-3 opportunity. So that's something you can't really pin on the penalty killers. You pin that one more on the guys taking the penalties. But Clarkson has really getting what they deserve here in the third period. They're kind of getting the payoffs for really working hard in the first and especially during the second period. Getting pucks on net, moving the puck well, setting up pretty well in the RPI zone, and it's just that now they're getting credit for it.
You are listening to live coverage of RPI hockey on 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy. Perry Lascaris, Tom Reel from the Houston Fieldhouse. RPI trails Clarkson 4-2. It'll be the Engineers and the St. Lawrence Saints tomorrow, same time, 7 o'clock here on WRPI. And RPI looking to try and turn things around here on this very long stretch of games here in the Capital Region, including 6 in a row at home. That homestand concludes next weekend with 2 against Ohio State. Of course, those out of conference. Face-off in the RPI zone with 9:32 on the clock. Going to be picked up by Wilson. He'll chip it off the glass. On for Whiffen, who helps it on further into the Clarkson zone. Amoroso will try the far side on the clear. Hayhurst can't keep it as it's chipped on further. Here's Rempel. Drop pass, far circle, shot coming. That one goes wide. Plenty of traffic flying by Perry in front of the goal. Luckily for him, the shot missed the net as well. Now Rempel in the near corner. On further for Brasso. Shoot it off the back of the net, fired in front, comes all the way free to Haas. He'll pull it back out, however, and now take a shot into the near corner. Brasso, drop pass across the middle again. That one's off the mark. Controlled there by Liljegren. He'll back up into his own zone, spin away from some pressure. Still Liljegren. He gets knocked down hard by Brasso. Fans wanted a penalty. Not going to get one here. Josephs will play it back for DeHaas, who skates back behind his own goal. Shots are 36-21 Clarkson. Not a good sign for RPI. They have not won a game this year when they've been outshot. Shot in deep by the Golden Knights as it's played in by Morrow. And now Prapavesis down the middle looking for Tyranese. Did enough to just tip it into the far corner. Spinning puck will be picked up there by Morrow. Now Tyranese jumps on it, takes a tight angle shot. And there's a glove save made by Kiley.
I think RPI would do well to take the same kind of attitude Yale took at about this time on Saturday when they were trailing 2-0, and just take shots, see what happens. The tying goal that Yale scored on Saturday was basically a low percentage shot, and just got the right bounce and ended up in the back of the net. You really, especially when you're getting outshot the way that RPI is, you got to just try and make something happen. Take some shots. They don't have to be high quality ones. Just put them on net.
Shot high and wide off the draw by Wood, and now Doriso gets hit by Wood, but plays it back for Tho. Far side, Nanny keeps it in. Down low now, DeVito. Nice job to stay on the puck. Now Riley will pinch in. We'll see more of that as the game goes along. RPI down a couple. Defensemen look to jump into the attack maybe a little bit more. Maybe make the riskier play for the higher reward. Tipped along by DeVito. They are onside. Far side, Wood stops there. Now carried out to center ice. Centering pass on the saucer. Perry tried to feed it back across to Riso, that is. And now Prapavesis carries back the other way into the skates and Nanny. They are onside once more. Another close play at the line. Towards goal. That one rolled right up into Kiley. And he eventually made the stop. Nanny was perched right in front of the net. If anything, was to pop free.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Just throw it on net and see what happens. That was a bouncing puck that Kiley had to be sharp on in order to keep that one potentially bouncing around him or past him. He's able to get his glove on it, but you never know. With shots like that, weird things can happen.
Draw here to the left of Kiley. And it's won by the Golden Knights. Amorosa can't clear the zone. Across for Bell. Bell in front, trying to kick it to himself. Steers one wide, hit the base of the net. And now Amorosa will pick it up there. Off the dasher, cleared to center, swept on further. Now Pirog. Nick Pirog takes a bump and another one. Then a hit is missed by Polino, who took himself out of the play, but lucky for him, pucks out to center. Orval, with that masterful hand-eye coordination, knocked the saucer pass out of the air and got it in deep. DeHaas carrying it near side, played along further for Pirog. He'll flip it to the far side of the offensive zone. Reno tied up there. Near side, here's Manley. 6.5 to go in the third. Engineers down 2. Now Orval will turn back towards his own end. Manley runs into Reno, and we will move along. Orval in, dumps it in. Before taking a bump, played to the far side where it's played by Sturm. And now Summers near corner. Outlet pass, good connection to center ice, Nico Sturm. Into the RPI zone they go. Far side, Josephs fires it around, pinching in Summer. That one goes all the way through. And now Victor Liljegren off the glass to center ice. Bouncing puck past Whiffen, corralled there by Karjalainen. Fired off the glass, near side, all the way through center. Who wants it? It's Reno, off his stick for Riley. Will Riley around to the far side. Liljegren will turn up ice with 5:49 to play. Broken up at the line. Engineers do manage to keep a foot in the neutral zone there, and so no one's offside. They eventually just dump it in. Greg Morrow with it behind the goal for Clarkson. Time running out on the Engineers here. He elects to play far side now through center all the way down. This should be icing on the Golden Knights, and it will be with 5:26 to play.
Time's running out for the Engineers. They've really got to find a way to make something happen and make it happen soon. But I think Clarkson at this point will be satisfied to play a little bit more defensively and then just see about counterattacking if they're going to be moving the other way where they make RPI pay for pushing their defense forward.
Face off here, puck chipped along the far boards. And now on further, out to center, past Riley. Prabhavessis picks it up there in his own zone, twirling and playing it down the middle. Threw it onto the tape of Egla. And now a chance to break in. Shot coming, save made by Perry. Might have missed that anyway. It was Yoki Hario with the try. Tyrannies, hard backhand pass near side, too far from Melanson. Back out to center it goes. Broken up by Josephs. He'll carry in past Prabhavessis. Still Josephs on the move. Shot saved by Perry. Rebound, they score. And it's Harold's Egla who makes it 5-2.
That one you can kind of chalk up to, as I just mentioned, RPI's defense try and cheat a little bit forward. To get something done offensively. They really didn't have a whole lot to lose down by 2. Unless you count going down by 3, which at this point in the game is really, there's not really much of a difference, but a good follow-up there by the freshman out of Latvia, scoring his second collegiate goal by just basically following the play, moving into the slot, picking up the puck, and it looked like he tucked that one 5-hole as Chase Perry was trying to move from his left to right. Caught him just at the right time. Nice little tapper into the back of the net, and Clarkson takes a 5-2 lead with 4:51 remaining in regulation.
Tipped into the Clarkson zone and out of play. We'll have a stoppage. And a bit of an exodus here from the Houston Fieldhouse crowd. You don't see it happen often, which is probably a good thing, but a lot of folks headed for the exits with 4:46 to go.
I've been wrong before, but it's probably safe to say they're not going to miss a major turnaround in this one.
Of course, those folks listening at home hope Tom is wrong. Puck.
Well, they don't have to go anywhere.
That's a good point. Puck at center, played by Wood. He'll just dump it in. Amorosa takes a hit, but works it off for DeHaas out to center. Now DeRiso working in, partial break off the side of the cage. That one went wide. Around to the near wall, it's DeRiso to keep it in. And now Grant for RPI. To the far side corner it goes. Up the boards for Wood. Wood connects to DeVito off his skate. Kick to the far corner. Karjalainen to the near corner now for Summers, who plays it back. Karjalainen stick handling through center ice. Plays it far side, chipped in deep by the Golden Knights. So they'll get a change with under 4 to go in the third. 5-2, Clarkson leading. Orval through center. That hit a staff of a stick, and then Kiley there. And now Bell went after the rebound. It wasn't there, and now he will pay the price as the Golden Knights will start a bit of a ruckus in the corner with teams pairing off. Looks to be subdued for the time being.
Well, there was already a penalty coming up on Clarkson on the play, I believe. And now the question is going to be if they're going to take another one for taking a swing at Bell. Bell, all he was doing was following up on the play and looking for a rebound. The rebound wasn't there, but you still kind of go in there looking for it anyway. You know, if you're going to make.
Knights took exception to him swinging at the glove of Kiley, I think is what happened.
Which you can't do, because I mean you're going to do the same thing in a similar situation.
Absolutely.
You want to protect your goaltender, but it needs to be reasonable. You can't be just going after anybody who's anywhere near it. Your netminder. It's inevitable. You're going to do the same thing when you're trying to score a goal, when you're down by 3 and trying to make something happen. So
yeah,
you kind of got to give some kudos to Bradley Bell for sticking in there, but it does look like he's going to get called for being part of the dust-up in the end. So we'll just see if they're going to call any extra penalties on the Golden Knights in this situation.
Well, this one not over in the sense that we have some things to sort out here, but it'll take something not too short of a miracle for RPI to try and come back in this game. They haven't generated too many scoring opportunities. You got to go back to some of the plays earlier in this period, though, when it was a 2-2 game. And right off the bat, Jimmy DeVito had a great chance to maybe give an RPI the lead. First minute of the period.
Lots of open ice with the puck on the power play. So.
And you really have to take advantage of those situations. Both teams tonight 1 for 5 on the power play. As right now, looks like Summers is in the box for Clarkson and Bradley Bell as well. RPI is going to get a power play out of this, I believe.
Yeah, Carolina is also in the box. I think that was the initial penalty. I might be wrong. I might have to switch, but the two defensemen out there for Clarkson are both in the box now. And I believe this is going to become a 5-on-4.
I think it's 5-on-4.
But we'll see what happens with this. RPI does get a power play, which if they're going to mount the amazing comeback, this would be the time to start, I suppose. They need 3 goals in the next 3:46 just to send it to overtime.
Well, it's going to have to start with 1 if you're RPI. So the power play will surely help in the situation. You got to get one early.
Yeah, there's no question. They have to get one relatively quickly because
we'll see if they do
enough time to grab another couple of them.
We'll see if the Engineers do what Yale did and pull the goaltender as well.
Now they've taken all of the penalties off the board for some reason, but they're...
It says 5-on-5?
Unless they're calling 2 penalties on Bell, which would be odd. It's a roughing penalty on Carolina and a cross-check against Summers. Yeah, that's what it is. They're doing roughing and slashing against Bell, so Bell takes 2 penalties, and that cancels it all out.
All right, so no power play. So that doesn't help the Engineers here, of course, as Morrow will try to clear it out. We're back to action. Kept in by Wilson. He'll wrist one towards goal. That hit a leg. And Karams to the near corner. Gervais high off the glass to center. Glove down by Wilson. Keeps it alive for Whiffen. Thought the Engineers were offside, but no. Pirog has it anyway. Behind the net now for Gervais. Brett Gervais to center. Too far out in front of Morrow. Engineers turn it right back around. It's Hayhurst on the carry. Poked away by Morrow, picked up by Gervais once more. He'll throw it high off the glass to center, and it's gone.
Might be a little much on Bell. I mean, he did come into the zone. I think he was roughed or cross-checked to begin the penalties.
He took the brunt of both Clarkson penalties.
He went in to try and look for a rebound, and then got jumped for his efforts. So it's kind of rough saying that he's going to take 2 penalties out of that whole thing. Maybe the roughing call after being part of the fracas that followed, but boy, that's a tough break for the RPI junior.
Played around to the near side. And now here come the Golden Knights into the zone. Stick handling there is Egla. Back to the point. Amorosa drive over the top. That one not close. Picked up by Orval. Into the middle. Stick handling there is DeVito. Jimmy DeVito through center. He'll chip it in. DeHaas has it for the Golden Knights. Indirect behind the boards. Behind the goal, I should say, for Amorosa, who can't quite find a handle on the puck, but eventually does get it to center. And now Egla into the offensive zone. Drop pass there, finding Josephs, and then it gets broken up by the Engineers. Polino behind. 2:26 to go. Shots 38-23. Clarkson down the middle of the ice. Puck pops high in the air. This will leave the ice surface as well. There's a very excited fan who wanted that puck. And he has it. 2:19 on the clock, Tom. RPI down 5-3.
Well, I think the key now for the Engineers is to set up for tomorrow night. I mean, you're not going to be playing the same team as last night, but they need to kind of set the tone for themselves. They got another tough task coming in with St. Lawrence, and they need to kind of put themselves in the right mindset heading into that one.
Puck played far side, as it'll be chipped along, and Wilson has it there. Dumped back in, and that'll be gloved down by Chase Perry. And now Grant in the air. Behind the net, off the base of the net, wraparound try, pops to the middle of the slot. Kept in there by Morrow. Big tie-up at the near point. Now we get a penalty here, and Hayhurst is an extra shove from Brasso, and they'll need to be separated. I think the Engineers are going to get a power play out of this.
Yeah, there's some stick swinging going on down there, which you never want to see. I mean, this is a rivalry game. The tensions are going to be ratcheted up just a bit. Jacob Hayhurst is having some serious words with Devin Brasso after that rumble in the corner, or I should say along the near boards. Neither man is very happy about that. They're both heading to the box, and they're still jawing at each other, which is it's part of a healthy rivalry, I suppose, but the stick work can probably be cut out. So with a minute 39 left, the penalties to Summers and I think that was Tho that was also down there on the incident with Bradley Bell. They're both out of the penalty box now. Bell will be in the penalty box for the remainder of the game because he took 2 penalties at the same time. Now Brasso and Hayhurst are now off, so we're going to be skating.
It's 4 on 4.
4 on 4. Well, there's 5. Yep. No. Okay, it will be 4 on 4. Yep. It was
4 on 4.
Patrick Polino was an extra man out there, so 4 on 4 for the remainder of the game.
And now it's going to be Manley behind. So no power plays come from any of these penalties. The skirmish at one end, the skirmish at the other. Now a shot out in front, and Perry had to fight that one off. Played around to the near wall. Summers back towards the point. Joseph's a wrister through traffic, and Perry made the stop, and he holds on once again.
I think the ultimate story of this game is just going to be Clarkson overpowering RPI on offense. It didn't kind of seem as bad during the first 2 periods because the score was tied, but the shots on goal told a completely different story, and they pretty much made up for it in the 3rd period, even though the shot total was a lot closer.
Face off in the defensive zone for the Engineers. Grant far side for Polino. Here comes Patrick Polino through center. He'll shoot it off the near boards and in deep. Brady Whiffen back to pick it up for RPI. He's tied up there. Kicks at it just a bit. And now Polino's lost his stick. That'll be a problem as it's going to be Gervais the other way. 3 on 3 across the line. Trickling in on goal. Perry will cover. And we'll get another stoppage with 44.7 seconds left and a 5-3 Clarkson lead.
I believe that's going to count for, yep, that's Clarkson's 40th shot on goal over this game. It's an impressive number for any team to reach in the contest. So I said it earlier today, I still believe it. I think Clarkson's the best team that RPI has played here at home this season, and they may be taking on an even more difficult team tomorrow night against St. Lawrence.
Might be until tomorrow.
Yeah, St. Lawrence is similar to Clarkson in a lot of ways. They've got a defense that can blast away at the point. They've got a talented offense in general, and one thing that St. Lawrence has that Clarkson doesn't quite have just yet is an elite goaltender.
Absolutely. As Kyle Hayton just already set the school record for shutouts with 10. He's only a junior, and we're only not even a third of the way through the season. Spinning around behind the goal is Riley up the near boards. On for DeVito. On further, it's Orval making a move, and he's tripped up on his way in. That's going to be a power play. Again, Jesper Orval slipping his way through, and he would have had a breakaway if he wasn't tripped up.
Yeah, he's annoyed by that because I think given the opportunity, he would have much rather taken that puck and gone towards the net with it, but getting tripped up, once again, drawing a penalty. That's the Orval meter is now at 6 in the last 2 games, so certainly an asset for any team to have is a guy that will draw penalties for the other team, creating power play opportunities. It's going to come too late in this one to make much of a difference, but certainly he's been part of RPI getting opportunities tonight.
Face off here, back to the point. It's Manley. Power play for just 26 and a half seconds, but now 20 to go in the game. RPI trying to find a silver lining here. That shot was blocked. Now Riley has it in the near circle. 4 on 3 power play for RPI. Another 10 seconds to go in the game. Riley a shot through traffic. That was blocked by Sturm. And now Riley in front, clearing effort with 3. Glove down by Manley. Fed to the far side. One-timer shot saved. Rebound doesn't matter as the horn sounded. Whiffen tried to chip in a rebound.
Whiffen did chip in a rebound.
He did, but it was after the horn.
But it was after the horn, so I think that's at least indicative of part of what I saw from a great effort by the RPI sophomore playing in his first full game as an Engineer. I should point that out that, on top of missing all of last season, he started the RPI's first game of the year in Maine. He got hurt before the game was over, so he made it 60 minutes tonight, got a goal out of it, but at the end of the day, RPI really just outclassed by a Clarkson team that's looking like it's got its best squad in the last decade. It's been a rough year. It's been a rough several years for Clarkson. I posited this at the beginning of the season, actually during the summer, at the now mostly defunct Without a Peer blog. When discussing Clarkson, I said kind of think back a ways now, the Obama administration coming to an end in January. So the last 8 years, 10 teams have finished in the top 12, in top 4 of the ECAC, gaining a bye in the first round of the playoffs. The only 2 teams that haven't done it in the last 8 years, Brown, I think most people would probably get. Clarkson, I think people would not think that Clarkson would be one of those teams that would.
No, absolutely not.
Because traditionally, historically, they're a team that used to never finish outside the top 3. They, a number 1 finish used to be pretty much a guarantee many years for Clarkson. This is a squad, a program that's been kind of on its back heels for quite some time. And really, since 2007, they haven't really struck an awful lot of fear into the ECAC. But this is, I think, easily the best squad that they've had since that 07 season when they went to the NCAA tournament and won a game against the St. Cloud State Huskies. So that put them a win away from going to the Frozen Four. And ever since then, they've really struggled as a program. But now they've got themselves in a position where they've got the pieces in place to really be a strong program, not just in the ECAC, but overall. This win gets them back to 500 for the season at 5-5-1. But I think what they do from here, I think we're going to see them really starting to put together a run in the ECAC. I think they're one of the top 4 teams in the conference at the end of the season. And what we saw from them tonight, they look very good. And I think you have to give them more credit than you give RPI blame tonight.
Absolutely. No, they definitely look like a solid team. They played some decent opposition so far this year. And they come into the Houston Fieldhouse and do a pretty solid job, able to finish off some of their chances. You look up again, and Chase Perry's given up another 5 goals, and you wonder, but it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot he's doing that poorly. It's hard to put a finger on why these goals are happening specifically, but
I think it's just you look at it, and RPI in previous years they were getting some absolutely ridiculous saves from their netminder in order to keep this games a little bit closer. I mean, you have to bear in mind that RPI has a couple of decent netminders this season in Cam Hackett and Chase Perry, but when you lose a guy that's on the level that Jason Kasdorf was in college, tonight I think RPI still probably would have lost with Kasdorf at his best in net, but maybe 1 or 2 more insane saves by Kasdorf would have kept this a little bit of a closer game. And that's kind of the difference, is that we're missing kind of the insane saves that we used to see from him.
I'll run down the scoring quickly, and then Tom will come up with his offensive and defensive engineers. 5:04 the first period. Terrence Amorosa scoring from Nico Sturm and Yuho Yukihario. And then it was Whiffen from Littlejohn and Hayhurst to tie the game at 1-1 at 11-13 of the first. Then it was Tico Carolina, second of the season from Boucher and Tho, made it 2-1 Clarkson. RPI tied it up again on the power play. Jared Wilson, 6th of the year from Tyrannese and Hayhurst. That came at 19-29. Troy Josephs gave Clarkson the lead for good at 3:06 of the third period as Harold's Egla and Yukihario had the assist. Nico Sturm, they made it 4-2 at 6:50 of the third period. Yukihario and Broso had the assist there. Then it was Egla finishing things off, his second of the year, 5th goal, made it 5-2 at 15:09. The lone assist going to Troy Josephs.
And see, Perry, this is what happens when you think that you're not going to be able to learn how to say Yukihario.
That's exactly right. We thought about it. We said this is going to be a tough one, and he goes and puts up a career night. 3
assists for the sophomore out of Tampere, Finland, so kind of a breakout night, and really indicative of the kind of night that Clarkson has, and the type of team that Clarkson has. They got some guys that are not freshmen but have not gotten awful lot of playing time. I'm looking especially at the 2 Finns that suited up tonight for Clarkson, Yukihario, playing in